Cybernetics, Achieving the Christ Frequency by Chris Walls. Introduction, Aligning with Your True Self. Welcome to the Christ Frequency, Aligning with Your True Self, a journey that delves deep into personal transformation, spiritual awareness, and the pursuit of inner higher. This book is designed to guide you on a path of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual alignment with what I refer to as the Christ Frequency, a state of being where you live in harmony with your true self, embracing love, compassion, forgiveness, and spiritual growth. The Christ frequency is not just a concept, but a vibration that resonates within all of us. It calls us to live authentically, to embrace our imperfections with grace, and to walk in alignment with our highest purpose. This book is a roadmap to help you unlock that frequency and find peace within, so you can live a life of greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. In this book, I have drawn on the wisdom of several powerful teachings, which have influenced my own journey towards self-awareness and spiritual awakening. I would like to acknowledge and pay homage to the authors and works that have provided a foundation for this work. Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics, a groundbreaking work that explores the power of self-image and the role it plays in shaping our thoughts, behaviors, and success. Maltz's insights into personal transformation and mental conditioning have greatly influenced the chapters on self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and authenticity in this book. The Arbinger Institute's Leadership and Self-Deception. This work explores how self-deception keeps us from living fully and authentically, especially in how we relate to others. Its profound teachings on breaking free from self-deception and living from a place of truth are woven throughout the book, particularly in the chapters on forgiveness, vulnerability, and alignment with one's true self. The Bible. As a source of divine wisdom, the Bible has provided invaluable lessons on love, compassion, forgiveness, faith, and living a life aligned with spiritual values. Throughout this book, you will find biblical principles guiding the discussion of spiritual awareness, resilience, and living with purpose. Buddhist teachings. The timeless philosophies of Buddhism, especially its teachings on mindfulness, non-attachment, and compassion, have profoundly shaped the ideas of balance, inner peace, and spiritual awakening presented in this book. The practices of mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation are discussed as essential tools for living in alignment with your true self. By integrating these teachings with my own experiences and understanding, the Christ frequency, aligning with your true self, offers a unique and holistic approach to personal and spiritual growth. The chapters within this book are structured to provide you with practical tools, insightful reflections, and spiritual guidance as you walk your path toward living a life that resonates with love, authenticity, and divine alignment. You will explore topics such as self-awareness, understanding who you are at your core and aligning with your true nature, emotional resilience, developing the strength to navigate life's challenges with grace and peace, forgiveness and letting go, releasing the emotional burdens that keep you tethered to the past and moving forward with a sense of freedom, spiritual awareness, deepening your connection with the divine and discovering the peace that comes from living in alignment with the Christ frequency, living authentically, embracing your true self, and living a life of integrity and purpose. This book is an invitation to embark on a transformative journey. Whether you are seeking personal growth, emotional healing, or spiritual awakening, the principles and practices shared within these pages will help you align with your true self, break free from limitations, and awaken to the divine frequency within you. As you read, I encourage you to approach each chapter with an open heart and mind. Allow yourself to absorb the wisdom from these teachings, reflect on your own journey, and take the steps toward a life that is aligned with your highest truth. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May the path ahead bring you closer to the Christ frequency, where peace, purpose, and fulfillment await. Chapter 1. The Inner Mirror. Understanding self-image and the foundation of all change. We all have an inner mirror, a reflection of how we perceive ourselves that ultimately shapes the world around us. How we see ourselves determines what we believe is possible, how we interact with others, and the trajectory of our lives. But the question is, how accurate is this reflection? More often than not, our self-image is distorted by the experiences we've endured, the judgments of others, and the insecurities we've carried throughout our lives. One of the most transformative lessons I've learned is that our self-image is the foundation of all change. It is the lens through which we view the world and ourselves, and it can either empower us or limit us. This chapter will explore the nature of self-image and how it can be reshaped to align with your highest potential. By understanding the power of your inner mirror, you can begin the journey of creating the life you truly desire. The power of self-image. Your self-image acts as a mental blueprint, determining what you believe you are capable of achieving. Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics teaches us that if we see ourselves as confident, successful, and capable, we unconsciously act in ways that lead us to success. Conversely, if we view ourselves as inadequate or undeserving, we sabotage our own efforts, often without even realizing it. Consider for a moment how your self-image influences your daily decisions. When you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see someone who is worthy of love, success, and happiness? Or do you see someone who is struggling, unworthy, or destined for failure? The way you answer these questions reflects the core of your self-image, and that perception will shape your actions throughout the day. If you view yourself negatively, you'll find it difficult to pursue new opportunities, develop meaningful relationships, or achieve personal growth. On the other hand, when you reshape your self-image to align with your true potential, you open the door to unlimited possibilities. Breaking free from the past. Many people are trapped in the past, allowing old failures, traumas, and criticisms to define their self-image. Perhaps you were told as a child that you weren't good enough, or that you'd never amount to anything. These negative beliefs, when internalized, become the foundation of your self-image, and they can persist long into adulthood. This is where the teachings from the Bible offer profound wisdom. The concept of renewal is central to Christian teachings. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." To transform your life, you must first renew your mind, and that begins with letting go of the distorted self-image that has held you back. Forgiveness plays a crucial role in this process. You must forgive yourself for past mistakes, for the times you've fallen short, and for the moments when you allowed others' opinions to define you. Equally important is forgiving those who contributed to your negative self-perception. Holding on to resentment only perpetuates the pain and keeps you anchored to a version of yourself that no longer serves you. The connection between self-image and self-deception. The concept of self-deception, as explored in leadership and self-deception, reveals how we often deceive ourselves into believing that our negative self-image is justified. We create stories and narratives to explain why we are not good enough, why we failed, or why we cannot succeed. These stories, although comforting in the short term, reinforce our distorted self-image and keep us stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage. For example, imagine someone who believes they are unworthy of success. When they experience failure, they may tell themselves, "See, I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew I would fail." This narrative becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They approach future opportunities with hesitation and doubt, expecting failure, and as a result, they continue to fail. The first step to breaking free from self-deception is to recognize when you're lying to yourself. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about your abilities, worth, and potential. Are these stories based on reality, or are they distortions created by fear and insecurity? Once you identify these false narratives, you can begin to challenge them and replace them with empowering beliefs that align with the truth of who you are. Rewriting your inner narrative. The good news is that self-image is not fixed. You have the power to rewrite the narrative of who you are and what you are capable of achieving. This process requires conscious effort, but it is one of the most rewarding journeys you will ever undertake. Start by visualizing the person you want to become. Close your eyes and imagine your ideal self, someone who is confident, successful, and at peace with themselves. What does this version of you look like? How do they act? What kind of relationships do they have? What goals do they pursue? Once you have a clear picture of your ideal self, begin to act as if you are already that person. This is a concept known as acting as if, and is a powerful tool for reshaping your self-image. When you consistently behave in ways that align with your ideal self, your mind begins to accept this new identity as reality. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maltz emphasizes the importance of daily affirmations and mental exercises to reinforce this new self-image. By repeating positive affirmations such as, "I am worthy of success," or "I am confident and capable," you reprogram your mind to accept these beliefs as true. Over time, your actions and behaviors will align with these new beliefs, and your self-image will begin to transform. The freedom of self-acceptance. Another key aspect of reshaping your self-image is learning to accept yourself as you are, imperfections and all. This is where the philosophy behind nudist teachings comes into play. Nudism advocates for the acceptance of the human body in its natural form, free from shame and societal judgments. While nudism primarily focuses on physical acceptance, its principles can be applied to all aspects of self-acceptance. To truly transform your self-image, you must embrace both your strengths and your weaknesses. Self-acceptance does not mean complacency. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love, success, and happiness, regardless of your flaws. When you accept yourself fully, you free yourself from the need to constantly seek validation from others, and you begin to live authentically. Practical exercises for reshaping your self-image. 1. Daily visualization. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each morning visualizing your ideal self. Picture yourself achieving your goals, interacting confidently with others, and living the life you desire. The more vividly you can imagine this, the more your mind will begin to accept it as reality. 2. Positive affirmations. Write down 5 to 10 positive affirmations that reflect the self-image you want to cultivate. Repeat these affirmations aloud every morning and night. Over time, these affirmations will begin to reshape your subconscious beliefs. 3. Challenge negative thoughts. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively about yourself, stop and question the validity of that thought. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is this a story I've created? Replace the negative thought with a positive affirmation. 4. Self-reflection. Journaling. Keep a journal where you reflect on your self-image and any patterns of self-deception you notice. Write about the stories you tell yourself and how you can begin to rewrite those narratives. The first step toward lasting change. Reshaping your self-image is the first step toward creating lasting change in your life. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself. But once you begin to see yourself as the confident, capable, and deserving person that you truly are, the possibilities for growth and success are endless. In the following chapters, we will continue to build upon the foundation of self-image, exploring how self-awareness, forgiveness, and authenticity can lead to deeper healing and greater freedom. Remember, the key to transformation begins with how you see yourself. When you change your self-image, you change your life. Chapter 2. The Nature of Deception. Breaking free from self-lies and the hidden battle within. At some point in our lives, most of us have been trapped in the lies we tell ourselves. These aren't always overt, conscious deceptions, but subtle distortions of reality that quietly shape our thoughts, feelings, and actions. We convince ourselves that we are victims, that we are unworthy, that others are the cause of our unhappiness. And these beliefs become so ingrained that they feel like undeniable truths. The power of self-deception is immense. It can cloud our judgment, sabotage our relationships, and prevent us from reaching our full potential. Breaking free from these falsehoods is essential to living a life of authenticity, growth, and inner peace. In this chapter, we will explore the concept of self-deception as it relates to self-image, relationships, and personal growth. Drawing insights from leadership and self-deception, we will look at how our minds create narratives to protect us from uncomfortable truths and how we can break these cycles. We'll also integrate biblical principles of honesty and truth, as well as nudist philosophies on authenticity to help you begin living more authentically and intentionally. Understanding self-deception. At its core, self-deception is the act of lying to ourselves. It often stems from a desire to avoid facing uncomfortable truths about who we are, how we feel, or what we've done. We tell ourselves stories to justify our actions or inactions, and over time, these stories become the lens through which we see the world. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors describe self-deception as being in the box. When we are in the box, we see others and ourselves through a distorted lens. We become defensive, blaming others for our problems, and in doing so, we avoid taking responsibility for our own actions. This distorted perception not only hurts us, but also damages our relationships with others. Consider how self-deception might play out in your life. Perhaps you've convinced yourself that you're not good enough to pursue your dreams, so you don't even try. Or maybe you've told yourself that someone else is to blame for your unhappiness, avoiding the difficult truth that you have control over your own emotions and reactions. The first step to breaking free from self-deception is recognizing when it's happening. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. Are they based on reality, or are they convenient excuses to avoid facing the truth? The consequences of self-deception. Self-deception may feel comforting in the short term, but its long-term consequences are damaging. When we lie to ourselves, we prevent growth, healing, and true self-awareness. Instead of confronting the areas of our lives that need improvement, we remain stuck in a cycle of blame, defensiveness, and stagnation. From a biblical perspective, truth is a central theme in the path to spiritual growth. Proverbs 12:22 says, "The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy." The Bible teaches that living in truth is essential for personal integrity and growth. When we deceive ourselves, we move away from the light of truth, making it harder to see ourselves and our situations clearly. On a personal level, self-deception keeps us from addressing the root causes of our struggles. For example, if you're constantly blaming others for your failures or unhappiness, you're missing the opportunity to take responsibility for your own life and make positive changes. This leads to a sense of helplessness, as you convince yourself that external factors control your destiny. Self-deception also damages our relationships with others. When we blame others for our problems, we create conflict and distance. We stop seeing others as people with their own needs, desires, and struggles, and instead, we view them as obstacles or threats. This not only harms our relationships, but also fuels our feelings of isolation and frustration. Breaking free from self-deception. The good news is that we can break free from the cycle of self-deception. This process requires honesty, humility, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves. While it may be challenging at first, the rewards of living authentically far outweigh the temporary discomfort. Here are some steps to help you break free from self-deception. 1. Practice radical honesty. The first step to overcoming self-deception is practicing radical honesty with yourself. This means being willing to confront uncomfortable truths about your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Ask yourself, am I being completely honest with myself right now? This practice may reveal painful truths, but it's the only way to move forward. 2. Take responsibility for your actions. Self-deception often leads us to blame others for our problems. To break free from this cycle, take responsibility for your actions and reactions. Recognize that while you can't control what happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. 3. Challenge your narratives. We all have stories we tell ourselves about who we are and how the world works. These narratives often reinforce our self-deception. Take time to reflect on these stories. Are they based on reality, or are they convenient excuses? Challenge the stories that keep you stuck in self-deception. 4. Embrace vulnerability. Breaking free from self-deception requires vulnerability. You must be willing to admit when you're wrong, when you've made a mistake, or when you've been dishonest with yourself. This can be difficult, but vulnerability is a powerful tool for growth and connection, living authentically. Once you begin to break free from self-deception, you can start living more authentically. Authenticity means aligning your actions with your values and beliefs. It means being true to yourself, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. The philosophy of nudism offers a valuable perspective on authenticity. Nudism encourages people to embrace their natural selves, free from societal expectations and judgments. While nudism focuses on physical acceptance, its principles can be applied to all aspects of life. Living authentically means accepting yourself as you are, imperfections and all, and showing up as your true self in every situation. In the Bible, authenticity is closely tied to the concept of integrity. Proverbs 10:9 says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Living authentically, with integrity, leads to a sense of inner security and peace. When we live in alignment with our true selves, we no longer need to hide behind lies or deceptions. Practical steps to live authentically. 1. Know your values. To live authentically, you must first understand what you value most in life. Take time to reflect on your core beliefs and values. What matters most to you? What kind of person do you want to be? Once you've identified your values, make a conscious effort to align your actions with them. 2. Be honest in your relationships. Authenticity in relationships requires honesty. This means being open about your feelings, needs, and boundaries. It also means being willing to listen to and respect the feelings and needs of others. Authentic relationships are built on trust and mutual understanding. 3. Let go of perfectionism. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. Let go of the need to appear perfect in the eyes of others and embrace your imperfections. When you accept yourself as you are, you free yourself from the pressure to conform to societal expectations. 4. Embrace vulnerability. Living authentically requires vulnerability. It means showing up as your true self even when you're scared of judgment or rejection. Vulnerability is the key to deep connections with others and to living a life that feels genuine and fulfilling. The freedom of truth. Breaking free from self-deception is not an easy task, but it is one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself. When you live in truth, you free yourself from the chains of blame, shame, and defensiveness. You begin to see yourself and others more clearly, and you open the door to deeper connections and personal growth. In the next chapter, we will explore how self-awareness builds upon the foundation of authenticity, and how recognizing our thoughts and feelings allows us to live more intentionally and with greater inner peace. Remember, the journey to inner peace begins with truth. Truth about who you are and the choices you make. Chapter 3. Spiritual Awakening Through Peace and Forgiveness. The Power of Forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood concepts in personal growth and spiritual awakening. At its core, forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of others or forgetting the pain they've caused us. Rather, it's about releasing the emotional burden that we carry as a result of holding on to resentment and anger. It is a path toward peace. Peace within ourselves and peace in our relationships with others. Many of us carry emotional baggage from the past, whether it's from hurtful words spoken by a loved one, betrayal by a friend, or mistakes we've made that we can't seem to let go of. These unhealed wounds weigh heavily on our hearts and minds, keeping us from living in the present and achieving true inner peace. Forgiveness is the key to releasing these burdens and awakening to a life filled with serenity and spiritual clarity. In this chapter, we will explore the transformative power of forgiveness, drawing from the teachings of the Bible, Psycho-Cybernetics, and leadership and self-deception. We'll also look at how forgiveness relates to the freedom and self-acceptance advocated in nudist philosophies, the Bible, and Buddhist teachings. Through forgiveness, we can begin the journey to lasting inner peace and spiritual awakening. Forgiveness in the Bible, a path to peace. Forgiveness is a central theme in many religious teachings, and the Bible provides profound wisdom on the importance of forgiveness in achieving spiritual growth. One of the most well-known passages on forgiveness comes from Matthew 6:14-15. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. This passage highlights the reciprocal nature of forgiveness. In order to receive forgiveness and grace, we must also extend it to others. This isn't always easy. In fact, forgiving those who have hurt us can feel impossible at times, especially when the wounds run deep. However, the Bible teaches that forgiveness is not just for the benefit of the other person. It is for us. When we forgive, we release the toxic emotions of anger, bitterness, and resentment that poison our souls and block us from experiencing true peace. It's important to remember that forgiveness doesn't mean excusing bad behavior or minimizing the hurt caused. Rather, it's about freeing yourself from the emotional prison that comes with holding on to past wrongs. When we refuse to forgive, we continue to relive the pain and allow it to dictate our thoughts and actions. Forgiveness is the act of letting go, not for the benefit of the other person, but for your own peace and spiritual well-being. Self-forgiveness, healing the inner wounds. While forgiving others is essential, self-forgiveness is just as important and often even harder to achieve. Many of us carry deep shame, guilt, and regret over mistakes we've made in the past. We berate ourselves for not being perfect, for making wrong decisions, or for hurting others. These unresolved feelings of guilt keep us stuck in a cycle of self-punishment, preventing us from moving forward in life and finding peace. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of self-forgiveness in transforming our self-image. He explains that we cannot grow and evolve if we continue to see ourselves as unworthy or unforgivable. The mind, he argues, cannot thrive under the weight of guilt and shame. In order to unlock our true potential, we must first forgive ourselves for the mistakes we've made and the ways we've fallen short. Self-forgiveness is about acknowledging that you are human, that you've made mistakes, and that those mistakes do not define your worth. When we forgive ourselves, we give ourselves permission to heal and grow. We stop seeing ourselves as broken or flawed and start recognizing our inherent value and potential. One powerful exercise in self-forgiveness is to write yourself a letter of apology. In this letter, acknowledge the mistakes you've made, express remorse, and then forgive yourself. Remind yourself that you are worthy of love and peace despite the imperfections of the past. The role of forgiveness in personal growth. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors highlight how self-deception and blame can hinder personal growth and damage relationships. When we deceive ourselves about our own actions, we tend to blame others for our problems and avoid taking responsibility for our own lives. This leads to a cycle of resentment and conflict that keeps us from growing. Forgiveness plays a critical role in breaking this cycle. By forgiving others, we release the need to blame them for our unhappiness. By forgiving ourselves, we take responsibility for our own growth and well-being. Forgiveness allows us to move out of self-deception and into a place of honesty and accountability, where true personal transformation can occur. Forgiveness also creates space for compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When we forgive, we recognize the humanity in ourselves and in those who have wronged us. We understand that we are all imperfect, that we all make mistakes, and that we are all deserving of grace. This compassion opens the door to deeper connections and more authentic relationships. Forgiveness and the freedom of authenticity. Buddhist teachings promote the idea of authenticity and self-acceptance, which align closely with the principles of forgiveness. Buddhism encourages individuals to embrace their natural selves, free from the shame and societal judgments that often shape our self-perception. This philosophy can be extended beyond the physical realm to include emotional and spiritual authenticity. Forgiveness is an act of emotional authenticity. When we forgive, we let go of the false narratives we've created about ourselves and others. We stop pretending that we're invulnerable or that others are entirely to blame for our suffering. Instead, we accept our own imperfections and the imperfections of those around us. This acceptance is liberating. It allows us to live more freely and authentically without the weight of resentment holding us back. Living authentically means being true to who we are, without hiding behind the walls of anger, bitterness, or self-judgment. Forgiveness helps us tear down these walls, enabling us to live with greater openness and vulnerability. In this way, forgiveness becomes a tool not only for healing, but also for embracing a more authentic and fulfilling life. Practical steps for cultivating forgiveness. Forgiveness is not always easy, but it is possible with practice and intention. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate forgiveness in your life. 1. Acknowledge the pain. Before you can forgive, you must first acknowledge the pain you've experienced. Whether it's pain caused by others or pain you've inflicted on yourself, take time to fully feel and understand the hurt. Denying or minimizing the pain will only prevent true forgiveness from taking place. 2. Release resentment. Holding on to resentment only prolongs your suffering. Make a conscious decision to release the anger and bitterness you feel. This doesn't mean that you're condoning the actions of others. It simply means that you're choosing not to let those actions control your emotions any longer. 3. Practice self-compassion. Forgiveness begins with self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate the process of forgiveness. Remember that you are worthy of love and peace, no matter what mistakes you've made or what pain you've experienced. 4. Use affirmations. Affirmations can be a powerful tool in the process of forgiveness. Repeat affirmations such as, "I choose to forgive and let go of the past," or "I forgive myself and others for any harm caused." Over time, these affirmations will help shift your mindset toward forgiveness and healing. 5. Seek support. Forgiveness is a deeply personal journey, but it doesn't have to be a solitary one. Surround yourself with supportive people who can offer guidance, encouragement, and understanding as you work through the process of forgiveness. Awakening through forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just a one-time act. It is a practice that we must continually cultivate in our lives. Through forgiveness, we can awaken to a deeper sense of peace, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. It allows us to release the burdens of the past, heal emotional wounds, and move forward with greater clarity and freedom. As you continue on your journey toward inner peace and spiritual awakening, remember that forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to lasting peace. Whether you are forgiving others or yourself, this practice will help you transcend the pain of the past and embrace the possibilities of the present. In the next chapter, we will explore the concept of self-acceptance and how embracing your true self can lead to even greater freedom and peace. Chapter 4. The freedom of self-acceptance and embracing who you truly are. We live in a world that constantly encourages us to be more successful, more attractive, more intelligent, more perfect. But what if true peace and happiness aren't found in striving to be more, but rather in accepting who we are, flaws and all? Self-acceptance is the key to living a fulfilling and authentic life. It means embracing every part of yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your physical appearance, your emotions, and even your past mistakes. When we learn to accept ourselves fully, we free ourselves from the need to constantly seek external validation, and we begin to live from a place of inner peace. This chapter will explore the concept of self-acceptance, drawing from insights in Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible, and Buddhist teachings. We'll examine how accepting ourselves as we are allows us to live more authentically, find freedom from judgment, and cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace. The role of self-image in self-acceptance. Self-acceptance begins with self-image. As we explored in the first chapter, self-image is the mental picture we have of ourselves. It encompasses how we view our abilities, our worth, and even our physical appearance. Unfortunately, many of us carry a negative or distorted self-image, shaped by past experiences, societal pressures, and unrealistic standards. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of self-image in determining our level of success and happiness. If we have a negative self-image, we will constantly feel inadequate, no matter how much we achieve or how many people we impress. On the other hand, if we cultivate a positive self-image, we can approach life with confidence, knowing that we are enough just as we are. Self-acceptance requires that we shift our self-image from one of inadequacy to one of wholeness. This means recognizing that we are complete and worthy, not because of what we achieve or how we, but simply because we exist. We are valuable, not for what we do, but for who we are. Breaking free from societal expectations. Society places immense pressure on us to conform to certain standards of beauty, success, and behavior. These expectations can create a deep sense of inadequacy, as we constantly compare ourselves to others and feel that we don't measure up. Nudist teachings offer a powerful counter-narrative to societal expectations. Nudism advocates for the acceptance of the human body in its natural form, free from the shame and judgment often imposed by society. While nudism is primarily focused on physical acceptance, the philosophy can be extended to all aspects of self-acceptance. To live authentically, we must free ourselves from the need to meet society's unrealistic standards. We must learn to accept our bodies, our personalities, and our imperfections as they are, rather than constantly striving to be something we're not. This doesn't mean we shouldn't work toward self-improvement. It simply means that our worth isn't tied to those improvements. We are worthy of love and acceptance right now, in this moment, exactly as we are. Self-deception and the mask of perfection. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explain how self-deception keeps us trapped in a cycle of dishonesty and self-betrayal. When we deceive ourselves, we create false narratives about who we are and how we need to appear to others. We wear a mask of perfection, trying to convince ourselves and the world that we are more than enough, when deep down, we feel inadequate. This mask of perfection prevents true self-acceptance. As long as we are trying to be someone we're not, whether it's to impress others or to protect ourselves from rejection, we are living in a state of self-deception. We cannot fully accept ourselves when we are constantly pretending to be someone else. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to be honest with ourselves about our insecurities and imperfections. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to show up as we truly are, without the mask. When we let go of the need to appear perfect, we open the door to true self-acceptance and freedom. Biblical insights on self-acceptance. The Bible teaches that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, created in the image of God. Psalm 139:14 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." This verse reminds us that we are already complete and perfect in the eyes of God. Our worth is not determined by how we look or what we achieve. It is inherent in our creation. However, many of us struggle to believe this truth. We look at our imperfections and flaws and wonder how we could possibly be worthy of love, acceptance, or grace. But the Bible encourages us to see ourselves as God sees us, as beloved, valuable, and worthy of love, simply because we are His creation. Self-acceptance, then, is not about ignoring our flaws or denying our need for growth. Rather, it is about recognizing that our value is not contingent on our perfection. We are already enough, just as we are, and this realization allows us to approach life with confidence and peace. The freedom found in self-acceptance. When we accept ourselves fully, we experience a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer bound by the need to meet external standards or seek validation from others. We are free to be ourselves, to live authentically, and to pursue our passions and dreams without fear of judgment or rejection. Self-acceptance also frees us from the burden of comparison. When we accept ourselves as we are, we stop comparing ourselves to others and feeling inadequate as a result. We recognize that we are on our own unique journey and that our worth is not diminished by someone else's success or beauty. In Buddhist teachings, this freedom from comparison is embodied in the practice of accepting the body in its natural state. When we let go of the need to look a certain way or meet certain beauty standards, we can fully embrace who we are. This philosophy extends to all aspects of life. When we accept ourselves fully, we can let go of the pressure to conform to societal expectations and live more freely and authentically. Practical steps for cultivating self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is a journey, not a destination. It requires daily practice and intention. Here are some practical steps to help you cultivate self-acceptance in your life. 1. Practice self-compassion. Self-acceptance begins with self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you make mistakes or fall short of your expectations. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. 2. Challenge negative self-talk. Pay attention to the way you talk to yourself. Are you constantly criticizing yourself or focusing on your flaws? When you notice negative self-talk, challenge it and replace it with more positive, affirming thoughts. 3. Let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is the enemy of self-acceptance. Let go of the need to be perfect and embrace the fact that you are enough, just as you are. Remember that your worth is not determined by how well you meet external standards. 4. Surround yourself with supportive people. The people you surround yourself with can have a big impact on your self-image and self-acceptance. Surround yourself with people who love and accept you for who you are and who encourage you to be your authentic self. 5. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for cultivating self-acceptance. It helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings and allows you to observe them without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, you can learn to accept yourself in the present moment without the need to change or fix anything. The journey to true freedom. Self-acceptance is not a destination you reach once and for all. It is a journey that requires ongoing practice and intention. As you continue on this journey, remember that you are worthy of love, acceptance, and peace, just as you are. You don't need to be perfect to be valuable. You don't need to meet society's standards to be enough. When you fully accept yourself, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You are free to live authentically, free from the need for external validation, and free from the burden of comparison. This freedom allows you to pursue your dreams and live a life that is true to who you are. In the next chapter, we will explore how inner peace is cultivated through daily practices such as meditation and mindfulness. These practices, when combined with self-acceptance, will help you find deeper peace and fulfillment in your life. Chapter 5. The Path to Inner Peace and Cultivating Peace in a Chaotic World. In today's fast-paced world, finding peace can feel like an impossible task. The demands of work, family, and societal expectations often leave us feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and disconnected from ourselves. However, inner peace is not something that is found outside of us. It is cultivated from within, through intentional practices that quiet the mind and center the spirit. Inner peace is more than just a momentary feeling of calm. It is a state of being that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, confidence, and clarity. When we are at peace within ourselves, external events no longer have the power to destabilize us. We become grounded, resilient, and able to maintain a sense of equilibrium, no matter what life throws our way. In this chapter, we will explore the path to inner peace, drawing from the teachings of Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible, and Buddhist philosophies. We'll examine how daily practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and self-awareness can help you cultivate lasting inner peace. The mind is a garden, tending to your thoughts. One of the central lessons from Psycho-Cybernetics is that the mind is like a garden. It will grow whatever seeds you plant in it. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, your mind will cultivate those thoughts, and they will dominate your experience. However, if you plant seeds of peace, positivity, and confidence, you can cultivate a mental environment that supports your inner well-being. Inner peace begins with managing your thoughts. Many of us are unaware of the constant stream of negative thoughts that run through our minds each day. These thoughts, whether they are about our inadequacies, our fears, or our frustrations, have the power to disrupt our peace and cause inner turmoil. The first step to cultivating inner peace is to become aware of your thoughts and the effect they have on your mental state. By practicing mindfulness, you can learn to observe your thoughts without judgment and choose which thoughts you want to give power to. This practice helps you create a more peaceful inner environment where positive and constructive thoughts can thrive. Mindfulness, being present in the moment. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or attachment to thoughts, emotions, or external circumstances. It is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace because it allows you to step out of the constant chatter of the mind and into the stillness of the present moment. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors discuss how self-deception often pulls us away from the present moment as we get caught up in narratives about the past or worries about the future. When we are trapped in these mental stories, we lose sight of the reality in front of us, and we become disconnected from ourselves and others. Mindfulness helps you break free from the cycle of self-deception by bringing your awareness back to the present moment. Instead of getting lost in thoughts about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow, mindfulness teaches you to focus on what is happening right now. This practice not only reduces stress and anxiety, but also creates a sense of peace and clarity that allows you to navigate life with greater ease. Biblical wisdom on peace. The Bible offers timeless wisdom on the pursuit of peace, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This passage reminds us that peace is not something we have to strive for on our own. It is a gift from God that is available to us when we turn to Him in prayer and trust. When we surrender our anxieties and worries to a higher power, we open ourselves up to a peace that goes beyond human understanding, a peace that grounds us even in the midst of life's challenges. In addition to prayer, the Bible encourages us to practice forgiveness, kindness, and compassion as pathways to peace. In Matthew 5:9, Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." This teaches us that peace is something we not only cultivate within ourselves but also extend to others. By creating harmony in our relationships and practicing forgiveness, we contribute to a more peaceful world. Meditation is prayer, quieting the mind. Meditation is another powerful tool for cultivating inner peace. While mindfulness focuses on bringing awareness to the present moment, meditation is the practice of quieting the mind altogether. It allows you to step away from the constant stream of thoughts and tap into the stillness and peace that exists beneath the surface. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz discusses how relaxation and mental stillness are essential for achieving success and inner peace. He encourages the practice of mental relaxation to calm the nervous system and create a space for creativity and clarity to emerge. Meditation is a way to cultivate this mental relaxation. It allows you to create a sanctuary within your mind where you can retreat from the stresses of the outside world and reconnect with your inner self. By practicing meditation regularly, you can train your mind to be more peaceful and resilient, even in the face of external challenges. There are many different forms of meditation, from focused attention on the breath to guided visualizations and silent reflection. The key is to find a practice that resonates with you and to make it a consistent part of your daily routine. Buddhist teachings on presence and connection. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of being present in your body and embracing life without shame or judgment. This philosophy encourages individuals to connect with their bodies and the natural world in a way that fosters peace, acceptance, and authenticity. In the context of inner peace, the practice of being present in your body is a powerful way to ground yourself and find peace in the present moment. So often we are disconnected from our bodies, living in our heads, and allowing our thoughts to dominate our experience. Buddhist teachings remind us that peace is not just a mental state, it is a physical and emotional state as well. When we learn to be fully present in our bodies, without judgment or shame, we create a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. This connection fosters a sense of peace and belonging as we realize that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Practical steps for cultivating inner peace. Here are some practical steps to help you cultivate inner peace in your daily life. 1. Start a meditation practice. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes each day to practice meditation. Find a quiet space where you can sit comfortably and focus on your breath or a peaceful image. As thoughts arise, gently let them go and return your focus to your point of attention. 2. Practice mindfulness throughout the day. You don't need to be sitting in meditation to practice mindfulness. Throughout the day, bring your awareness to the present moment. Whether you're eating a meal, walking in nature, or having a conversation, practice being fully present and engaged. 3. Create a daily gratitude ritual. Gratitude is a powerful way to cultivate inner peace. Each day, take a few moments to reflect on the things you are grateful for. This practice shifts your focus away from stress and negativity and helps you appreciate the abundance in your life. 4. Let go of judgment. Practice letting go of judgment, both of yourself and others. Judgment creates division and tension, while acceptance fosters peace. When you find yourself judging, pause and choose to approach the situation with compassion and understanding instead. 5. Incorporate prayer into your routine. If prayer is part of your spiritual practice, Use it as a tool for cultivating inner peace. Turn to prayer when you feel anxious or overwhelmed, and trust that peace will come when you surrender your worries to a higher power. The path to lasting peace. Inner peace is not something that is achieved overnight, nor is it something that exists in the absence of challenges. It is a practice, a way of being that is cultivated over time through mindfulness, meditation, and intentional living. When you commit to these practices, you create a foundation of peace that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and clarity. As you continue on your journey toward inner peace, remember that the mind, like a garden, must be tended to daily. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, and self-awareness, you will cultivate a peaceful inner environment that allows you to thrive no matter what challenges arise. In the next chapter, we will explore how vulnerability and authenticity are essential components of inner peace, and how embracing your true self can lead to deeper connections and greater fulfillment. Chapter 6: Finding Freedom Through Vulnerability and Authenticity. The power of vulnerability. In a world that often values strength and independence, vulnerability can be seen as a weakness. We are taught to hide our imperfections, shield our emotions, and present ourselves as confident and unshakable. Yet, true freedom and inner peace come not from hiding our vulnerabilities, but from embracing them. Vulnerability is the willingness to be seen as you truly are, without the masks or defenses that we often use to protect ourselves from judgment or rejection. It requires courage, honesty, and the ability to face your fears head-on. Paradoxically, it is in embracing vulnerability that we discover our true strength. By allowing ourselves to be open, we build deeper connections with others, find acceptance within ourselves, and move toward greater spiritual and emotional freedom. This chapter explores how vulnerability and authenticity are critical for personal growth and connection. Drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible and Buddhist teachings, we will learn how embracing our authentic selves helps us cultivate lasting inner peace and more meaningful relationships. The masks we wear: self-deception and authenticity. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explain how self-deception keeps us trapped in patterns of dishonesty, both with ourselves and with others. We put up emotional and psychological barriers to protect ourselves, but in doing so, we block the possibility of true connection and growth. These barriers become the masks we wear, the false identities we create to avoid vulnerability and maintain control. When we wear these masks, we present only a curated version of ourselves to the world. We hide our insecurities, our fears, and our flaws, convinced that revealing them will lead to rejection or judgment. However, these masks prevent us from living authentically. They keep us disconnected from ourselves and from others, leading to loneliness, isolation, and inner conflict. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to remove these masks and embrace vulnerability. It means acknowledging our imperfections and being honest with ourselves and others about who we truly are. This authenticity is the foundation of inner peace and emotional freedom. Buddhist teachings on vulnerability and acceptance. Buddhist philosophy teaches that suffering arises from our attachment to the false self, the ego, which is constantly seeking approval, control, and validation. In Buddhism, the path to enlightenment involves letting go of this attachment and embracing the truth of who we are, free from ego-driven desires and fears. One of the key tenets of Buddhism is the practice of anicca, or impermanence. This teaching reminds us that all things, our emotions, thoughts, relationships, and even our sense of self, are constantly changing. By accepting this impermanence, we learn to let go of the need for control and perfection. Vulnerability, then, becomes a natural part of this process. Instead of fearing change or imperfection, we learn to accept it with compassion and understanding. Buddhism also emphasizes the practice of metta, or loving kindness. This practice encourages us to cultivate love and compassion for ourselves and others, including our vulnerabilities. Through metta, we learn to treat our imperfections not as weaknesses, but as opportunities for growth and connection. This compassionate self-acceptance is essential for living authentically and finding peace. The Bible and the strength in vulnerability. The Bible also offers powerful lessons on vulnerability and authenticity. One of the most profound examples of this is found in 2 Corinthians 12, where the Apostle Paul says, "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me.'" This passage reminds us that our vulnerabilities are not weaknesses, but opportunities for grace and growth. By acknowledging our limitations and imperfections, we allow ourselves to rely on God's strength rather than our own. Vulnerability then becomes a path to spiritual empowerment, as it allows us to surrender our need for control and trust in something greater than ourselves. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of honesty and truthfulness in our relationships with others. In Ephesians 4:25, we are encouraged to speak the truth to one another. Living authentically means being truthful, not just in our words, but in how we present ourselves. It requires that we show up fully as who we are, without hiding behind facades or pretending to be something we're not. The freedom of authenticity. When we embrace vulnerability and authenticity, we free ourselves from the burden of pretending to be someone we're not. We let go of the need for approval, validation, and control, and instead, we live in alignment with our true selves. This freedom allows us to experience life more fully, with greater peace and joy. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of self-image in achieving success and happiness. He explains that our self-image must be based on truth, on who we really are if we are to experience true fulfillment. When our self-image is distorted by the masks we wear, we cannot achieve lasting peace. However, when we accept ourselves as we are, we create a self-image that aligns with our authentic selves, leading to greater confidence and inner harmony. Living authentically also strengthens our relationships. When we are vulnerable and open with others, we create space for deeper connection and trust. People are drawn to authenticity, and by showing up as our true selves, we invite others to do the same. This creates relationships that are built on mutual understanding, respect, and compassion. Buddhist practices for embracing vulnerability. Buddhist teachings offer several practices that can help us embrace vulnerability and live more authentically. 1. Mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we become more aware of our vulnerabilities and how we respond to them. This awareness allows us to accept our imperfections with compassion rather than fear or avoidance. 2. Non-attachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment to the ego and the false self leads to suffering. By practicing non-attachment, we learn to let go of the need for approval and control. This helps us embrace vulnerability without fear, as we no longer define ourselves by external validation. 3. Loving kindness meditation. The practice of metta encourages us to cultivate love and compassion for ourselves and others. Through loving kindness meditation, we learn to extend compassion to our own vulnerabilities, recognizing that imperfection is a natural part of being human. Practical steps for embracing vulnerability and authenticity. Here are some practical steps you can take to embrace vulnerability and live more authentically. 1. Be honest with yourself. Start by being honest with yourself about your fears, insecurities, and imperfections. Acknowledge the areas of your life where you've been hiding behind a mask or pretending to be someone you're not. This self-honesty is the first step toward authenticity. 2. Share your vulnerabilities. Practice sharing your vulnerabilities with others in safe, supportive environments. This might mean opening up to a trusted friend or family member about something you've been struggling with. By sharing your vulnerabilities, you create space for deeper connection and support. 3. Challenge the fear of judgment. Many of us fear judgment or rejection if we reveal our true selves. Challenge this fear by reminding yourself that vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. The people who matter most in your life will accept and appreciate you for who you are. 4. Let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is often a defense mechanism that keeps us from being vulnerable. Let go of the need to be perfect and embrace the fact that you are enough just as you are. Remember that your worth is not determined by your achievements or by meeting others' expectations. 5. Practice self-compassion. Vulnerability requires self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate the process of living more authentically. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a loved one. The strength of being real, vulnerability, and authenticity are not weaknesses. They are the keys to true freedom and inner peace. By embracing your imperfections and showing up as your true self, you create a life that is aligned with your values and your deepest desires. You open the door to more meaningful relationships, greater spiritual growth, and lasting peace. As you continue on your journey toward inner peace, remember that vulnerability is a sign of strength, not fragility. By being real, you unlock the power to transform yourself and your life. In the next chapter, we will explore how love and compassion serve as powerful tools for healing and deepening connections with others, as well as for nurturing a peaceful inner world. Chapter 7. Love and Compassion as Healing Tools. Love and compassion are the foundation of all meaningful human connection and spiritual growth. They are the forces that unite us with others, heal our wounds, and create harmony both within ourselves and in the world around us. When we approach life with love and compassion, we not only foster deeper relationships, but we also nurture a sense of peace and fulfillment within ourselves. In many ways, love and compassion are the antidotes to suffering. While pain, fear, and anger isolate us and close us off from others, love and compassion open our hearts and allow us to connect on a deeper level. These qualities dissolve barriers and judgments, reminding us that we are all part of a shared human experience. In this chapter, we will explore the transformative power of love and compassion, drawing insights from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible, and Buddhist teachings. We'll look at how these qualities can be cultivated to heal emotional wounds, foster deeper connections with others, and create a more peaceful inner world. The role of self-love in personal growth. Love and compassion must begin within. Often, we are our own harshest critics, judging ourselves for our perceived flaws and shortcomings. This internal criticism prevents us from experiencing true peace and happiness. As Psycho-Cybernetics teaches, a healthy self-image is essential for personal growth and success, and self-love is at the core of that self-image. When we practice self-love, we learn to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, rather than with judgment and criticism. Self-love is not about being arrogant or self-centered. It is about recognizing our inherent worth and treating ourselves with the same compassion we would offer to a dear friend. By cultivating self-love, we create a foundation of inner peace that allows us to move through life with confidence and grace. Self-deception and the barriers to compassion. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors describe how self-deception leads to distorted thinking, where we justify our negative behaviors and attitudes toward others. This self-deception creates a cycle of blame and defensiveness, preventing us from extending compassion to others or accepting it for ourselves. One of the barriers to compassion is the belief that others are somehow less deserving of our kindness. When we deceive ourselves, we view others as obstacles or threats, rather than as individuals with their own struggles and humanity. This mindset keeps us isolated and disconnected, making it difficult to form meaningful relationships or experience inner peace. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to adopt a mindset of compassion. Compassion allows us to see others for who they truly are, fellow human beings who are also navigating the complexities of life. When we view others with compassion, we soften our judgments and create space for understanding and connection. Biblical teachings on love and compassion. The Bible is filled with teachings on love and compassion, both as expressions of divine will and as virtues to be cultivated in our daily lives. One of the most powerful passages on love is found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7, which states, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." This passage reminds us that love is not just an emotion, it is a way of being. It is expressed through patience, kindness, and forgiveness, and it requires us to let go of selfishness, pride, and anger. Love, according to the Bible, is the highest calling we can aspire to, and it is through love that we find healing and peace. Compassion is also central to the teachings of Jesus. In Matthew 9:36, we are told that when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Jesus' compassion for others was rooted in his ability to see their suffering and respond with kindness and care. As followers of his teachings, we are called to practice the same compassion in our own lives, both for ourselves and for others. Buddhist teachings on compassion and loving kindness. In Buddhism, compassion, karuna, and loving kindness, metta, are considered essential qualities for achieving enlightenment. Compassion is the deep understanding of the suffering of others, coupled with the desire to alleviate that suffering. Loving kindness is the practice of extending goodwill, love, and kindness to all beings, without discrimination or expectation of anything in return. Buddhist teachings emphasize that love and compassion are not limited to those closest to us. They must be extended to all beings, including those we may not like or agree with. This is known as boundless compassion, the ability to love and care for others even when it is difficult. This practice helps dissolve feelings of anger, resentment, and judgment, creating a sense of unity and interconnectedness with all living beings. One of the most well-known Buddhist practices for cultivating compassion and loving kindness is the metta bhavana, or loving kindness meditation. In this meditation, we first cultivate love and kindness for ourselves, and then gradually extend that love to others, first to those we care about, then to acquaintances, and finally to all beings. This practice helps develop an open heart and a mind that is free from fear and judgment. The healing power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an integral part of both love and compassion. When we hold on to resentment or anger toward ourselves or others, we create barriers to love and connection. Forgiveness allows us to release those negative emotions and open ourselves to healing and reconciliation. In both Christian and Buddhist teachings, forgiveness is viewed as a path to inner peace. The Bible teaches that we are called to forgive others as we have been forgiven by God, Matthew 6:14-15. This act of forgiveness is not just for the benefit of the other person, it is for our own peace of mind. By letting go of anger and resentment, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of the past and create space for love to flourish. In Buddhism, forgiveness is also linked to the practice of compassion. We forgive not because the other person deserves it, but because holding on to anger causes suffering for ourselves. By practicing forgiveness, we cultivate a mind of compassion and kindness, both for ourselves and for others. Practical steps for cultivating love and compassion. Love and compassion are practices that require daily attention and intention. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate these qualities in your life. 1. Practice loving kindness. Meditation. Set aside a few minutes each day to practice loving kindness meditation. Begin by sending love and kindness to yourself, then gradually extend that love to others, first to loved ones, then to acquaintances, and finally to all beings. 2. Be present in your relationships. Compassion requires that we be fully present with others. Make an effort to truly listen to those around you without judgment or distraction. By being present, you create space for deeper connection and understanding. 3. Practice self-compassion. Just as you extend compassion to others, make sure you are also treating yourself with kindness. When you make a mistake or experience a setback, resist the urge to be self-critical. Instead, offer yourself the same understanding and compassion that you would offer to a friend. 4. Forgive regularly. Forgiveness is a key component of love and compassion. Make a habit of forgiving others and yourself on a regular basis. Let go of grudges and resentments and choose to approach each new day with an open heart. 5. Perform acts of kindness. Small acts of kindness can have a big impact on both you and others. Look for opportunities to offer kindness to those around you, whether it's through a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, or simply being there for someone who needs support. Love as a path to peace. Love and compassion are not just emotions. They are practices that have the power to transform our lives. By cultivating these qualities, we heal our emotional wounds, deepen our connections with others, and create a more peaceful inner world. Love is the highest calling, and through love, we find the peace, fulfillment, and joy that we seek. As you continue your journey toward inner peace, remember that love and compassion are always available to you. Whether you are extending them to yourself or to others, these qualities will guide you toward a life of greater peace, connection, and purpose. In the next chapter, we will explore how emotional resilience is developed through self-awareness and how this resilience helps us overcome the challenges and adversities we face in life. Chapter 8. Emotional Resilience, the Path to Overcoming Adversity, while gaining the strength to bounce back. Life is filled with ups and downs, joys and sorrows, successes and failures. While we cannot always control the challenges we face, we can cultivate emotional resilience, which is our ability to adapt, recover, and grow stronger in the face of adversity. Emotional resilience allows us to navigate life's obstacles with grace, maintaining our inner peace even when circumstances are difficult. Resilience is not an inherent trait. It is a skill that can be developed through intentional practices and a commitment to self-awareness. It involves recognizing our emotional responses, understanding our triggers, and adopting healthy coping strategies that allow us to bounce back from setbacks. In this chapter, we will explore the concept of emotional resilience, drawing insights from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophies. We will discuss how cultivating self-awareness is essential for building resilience, and how it empowers us to face life's challenges with confidence and strength. Understanding emotional resilience. Emotional resilience refers to our capacity to withstand and recover from difficult experiences. It involves not just the ability to bounce back from setbacks, but also the capacity to grow and learn from those experiences. Resilient individuals can maintain a positive outlook, find meaning in adversity, and adapt to change. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the role of self-image in our ability to cope with challenges. When we have a positive self-image, we are more likely to view difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. This mindset shift is crucial for building resilience, as it allows us to approach challenges with a sense of agency and possibility. Conversely, a negative self-image can lead to feelings of helplessness and defeat in the face of adversity. When we believe we are inadequate or unworthy, we may struggle to find the strength to overcome challenges. Building a strong, positive self-image is foundational for developing emotional resilience. The role of self-awareness in building resilience. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It involves being in tune with our emotions, identifying our triggers, and understanding how we react to stressors. Self-awareness is a critical component of emotional resilience because it allows us to take a step back from our experiences and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors highlight how self-deception can cloud our judgment and hinder our ability to be self-aware. When we deceive ourselves about our emotions or the situations we face, we are less likely to recognize the need for change or growth. This lack of awareness can leave us feeling stuck and powerless. By cultivating self-awareness, we gain insight into our emotional responses and can identify patterns that may hinder our resilience. For example, we may recognize that we tend to withdraw or become defensive when faced with criticism. By acknowledging these patterns, we can develop healthier coping strategies that allow us to respond with openness and flexibility instead. Buddhist teachings on resilience and acceptance. Buddhism offers profound insights into the nature of suffering and resilience. One of the core teachings is that suffering is an inherent part of life, and how we respond to that suffering determines our emotional resilience. The Buddha taught that attachment to outcomes and desires often leads to suffering. By practicing non-attachment and acceptance, we can cultivate resilience in the face of life's inevitable challenges. The concept of anicca, or impermanence, is central to Buddhist philosophy. Recognizing that all things, including our emotions and experiences, are temporary helps us approach adversity with a sense of equanimity. When we understand that difficult feelings and situations will pass, we become less overwhelmed by them and better able to maintain our inner peace. Additionally, Buddhist practices such as mindfulness and meditation can strengthen our emotional resilience. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing us to create space between our experiences and our reactions. This space is essential for responding to challenges with clarity and composure, rather than being swept away by negative emotions. Biblical insights on resilience. The Bible is rich with teachings about resilience and overcoming adversity. One powerful example is found in James 1:2-4, which says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This passage highlights the idea that trials and challenges can lead to growth and maturity. When we face adversity, we have the opportunity to develop perseverance, a key component of resilience. By reframing our perspective on difficulties, we can learn to see them as opportunities for growth rather than as obstacles to our happiness. Moreover, the Bible encourages us to lean on our faith and the support of our community during challenging times. In Philippians 4:13, Paul writes, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." This verse reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. We have access to divine strength and support as we navigate life's challenges. Practical strategies for cultivating emotional resilience. Here are some practical strategies you can implement to cultivate emotional resilience in your life. 1. Develop self-awareness. Take time each day to reflect on your emotions and reactions. Journaling can be an effective way to explore your feelings and identify patterns. Ask yourself questions like, what triggers my stress or anxiety? And how do I typically respond to challenges? 2. Practice mindfulness. Incorporate mindfulness practices into your daily routine. This might include meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply taking a moment to pause and observe your surroundings. Mindfulness helps you stay grounded and present, making it easier to navigate challenges. 3. Reframe challenges. Shift your perspective on adversity by viewing challenges as opportunities for growth. When faced with a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? This reframing helps you approach difficulties with curiosity rather than fear. 4. Build a support network. Surround yourself with supportive friends, family, and mentors who encourage your growth and resilience. Having a strong support network can provide you with the strength and encouragement needed to face challenges head-on. 5. Engage in self-care. Prioritize self-care to maintain your emotional well-being. This might include physical activities, hobbies, spending time in nature, or practicing relaxation techniques. Taking care of your body and mind is essential for building resilience. 6. Cultivate compassion. Practice self-compassion by treating yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during difficult times. Recognize that everyone faces challenges, and it's okay to struggle. Extend this compassion to others as well, fostering deeper connections and mutual support. The strength is within. Emotional resilience is a vital skill that empowers us to navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace. By cultivating self-awareness, practicing mindfulness, and embracing love and compassion, we can develop the resilience needed to face adversity and emerge stronger on the other side. As you continue on your journey toward inner peace, remember that resilience is not about being invulnerable. It's about being adaptable, open, and willing to learn from every experience. With each challenge you face, you have the opportunity to grow, heal, and deepen your connection with yourself and others. In the next chapter, we will explore the importance of self-awareness in enhancing emotional intelligence and how it enables us to navigate relationships with greater empathy and understanding. Chapter 9. The power of self-awareness in emotional intelligence is the foundation of emotional intelligence. At the heart of every healthy relationship, whether with ourselves, others, or the world around us, lies emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also being able to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. It's about connecting with ourselves deeply enough to cultivate empathy, self-regulation, and meaningful relationships. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. Without self-awareness, we cannot fully understand our emotions, nor can we recognize how our emotions influence our actions and interactions with others. Developing self-awareness allows us to navigate life with greater clarity and intention, leading to stronger connections and a more peaceful inner world. In this chapter, we will explore the role of self-awareness in developing emotional intelligence, drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy. We'll discuss how self-awareness enhances our ability to manage emotions, fosters empathy, and leads to deeper, more authentic relationships. The importance of self-awareness in managing emotions. Self-awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. It allows you to recognize your feelings as they arise, understand their triggers, and manage them in a healthy, constructive way. Without self-awareness, emotions can feel overwhelming, leading to reactive behaviors and strained relationships. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of self-awareness in reshaping our self-image and managing our emotional responses. When we are unaware of our emotions, they can control us, often leading to self-sabotaging behaviors. However, when we become aware of our emotions, we gain the ability to choose how we respond to them, leading to more intentional actions. For example, when faced with criticism, a person lacking self-awareness might immediately react with defensiveness or anger. However, someone with self-awareness can recognize the emotional trigger, pause, and respond thoughtfully, choosing to address the situation calmly and constructively. This ability to regulate emotional reactions is a hallmark of emotional intelligence. Self-deception and emotional blind spots. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception creates emotional blind spots, preventing us from seeing ourselves clearly. When we are caught in self-deception, we rationalize our behaviors and emotions, often blaming others for our feelings or actions. This lack of self-awareness not only limits our emotional intelligence, but also damages our relationships with others. Self-deception occurs when we fail to acknowledge our own role in creating emotional conflict. For instance, we might convince ourselves that someone else is the source of our frustration, rather than recognizing that our own unresolved emotions are contributing to the situation. By failing to take responsibility for our emotions, we limit our ability to grow and improve our relationships. Breaking free from self-deception requires developing a deeper level of self-awareness. By acknowledging our emotions, owning our reactions, and reflecting on our role in difficult situations, we can begin to heal emotional blind spots and become more emotionally intelligent. Buddhist teachings on self-awareness and emotional regulation. Buddhist philosophy teaches that suffering often arises from our attachment to emotions and desires. Through the practice of mindfulness, we learn to observe our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. This detachment from emotional reactivity allows us to experience greater clarity and peace, even in difficult situations. The concept of dukkha, the Buddhist idea of suffering, suggests that much of our emotional distress comes from clinging to certain outcomes or resisting the reality of the present moment. Mindfulness helps us become aware of these attachments and allows us to release them, creating space for healthier emotional responses. Buddhist practices, such as meditation and mindful awareness, encourage us to be present with our emotions without judgment. By simply observing our emotions as they arise, we can understand them better, respond to them more effectively, and avoid being controlled by them. This practice of emotional regulation is key to developing emotional intelligence. Biblical insights on emotional wisdom. The Bible provides timeless wisdom on managing emotions and developing self-awareness. One powerful verse is Proverbs 16:32, which states, "Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city." This passage highlights the value of self-control and emotional regulation as key aspects of wisdom and strength. In the Bible, emotional wisdom is often tied to patience, self-restraint, and humility. These qualities are essential for fostering healthy relationships and avoiding unnecessary conflict. The practice of patience, for example, requires self-awareness of one's emotional state, especially in stressful or challenging circumstances. By recognizing the rise of frustration or anger, we can choose to respond with patience and grace rather than reacting impulsively. The Bible also teaches the importance of humility in developing emotional intelligence. Humility allows us to acknowledge our own emotional vulnerabilities and recognize that we are not always right. By approaching our emotions with humility, we can be more open to growth, change, and deeper understanding. Empathy, the heart of emotional intelligence. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It is one of the most important aspects of emotional intelligence and is directly linked to self-awareness. When we are self-aware, we are better able to tune into the emotions of others, respond with compassion, and build stronger, more meaningful relationships. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors highlight how self-deception can hinder our ability to empathize with others. When we are focused solely on our own feelings or perspectives, we may overlook the emotions of those around us. Developing self-awareness allows us to shift our attention outward, becoming more attuned to the emotional experiences of others. Empathy also plays a central role in Buddhist teachings. The practice of karuna, compassion, encourages us to extend love and understanding to all beings, recognizing that everyone experiences suffering in some form. By cultivating empathy, we deepen our connection with others and foster a sense of shared humanity. Practical steps for developing self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Here are some practical steps you can take to enhance your self-awareness and cultivate emotional intelligence. 1. Practice mindfulness. Set aside time each day to practice mindfulness, whether through meditation or simply taking a few moments to tune into your thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness helps you observe your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them, allowing you to respond more thoughtfully. 2. Reflect on emotional triggers. Take note of situations that trigger strong emotional reactions in you, such as frustration, anger, or sadness. Reflect on what these triggers reveal about your emotional needs or unresolved issues. This reflection helps you understand your emotions more deeply. 3. Keep a journal. Journaling is a powerful tool for developing self-awareness. Write about your daily experiences and emotional responses, and reflect on how you can improve your emotional regulation. Over time, journaling can help you recognize patterns in your emotions and behaviors. 4. Cultivate empathy. Make an effort to actively listen to others without judgment or distraction. Practice putting yourself in their shoes and imagining how they might be feeling. This practice helps you build empathy and strengthens your emotional intelligence. 5. Seek feedback. Sometimes our blind spots are best revealed through the perspective of others. Ask trusted friends or family members for feedback on how you manage your emotions or respond in difficult situations. Their insights can help you improve your self-awareness. 6. Practice self-compassion. Developing emotional intelligence requires patience and self-compassion. Recognize that you are a work in progress and that it's okay to make mistakes along the way. Treat yourself with kindness as you navigate your emotional growth. Self-awareness as the gateway to emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, allowing us to understand our emotions, regulate our reactions, and connect more deeply with others. As we become more aware of our inner world, we gain the ability to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity, empathy, and resilience. By integrating self-awareness into your daily life, you can strengthen your emotional intelligence, improve your relationships, and create a more peaceful and fulfilling inner world. Remember that emotional intelligence is not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding and managing them in a healthy way. Chapter 10. Self-compassion and emotional resilience for personal transformation. The power of self-compassion. In our journey toward personal growth and transformation, we often emphasize external achievements, self-discipline, and perseverance. While these qualities are essential, they are not the only ingredients for lasting change. One of the most overlooked but powerful tools for personal transformation is self-compassion. Self-compassion is the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you would extend to a dear friend. It means recognizing your humanity, embracing your imperfections, and offering yourself grace, especially during moments of failure or hardship. By cultivating self-compassion, we build a foundation of emotional resilience, which enables us to face life's challenges without losing our sense of self-worth or inner peace. In this chapter, we will explore the relationship between self-compassion and emotional resilience, drawing on insights from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible, and Buddhist teachings. We will examine how practicing self-compassion strengthens our ability to navigate difficulties and facilitates lasting personal transformation. Self-compassion and emotional healing. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz discusses how our self-image influences every aspect of our lives, including how we handle setbacks and challenges. When we have a negative self-image, we are more likely to engage in self-criticism and harsh judgment when things go wrong. This self-punishment not only damages our mental and emotional health, but also hinders our ability to recover and grow from adversity. Self-compassion, on the other hand, promotes emotional healing by encouraging us to treat ourselves with kindness, even when we fall short. It allows us to embrace our imperfections and mistakes as part of the human experience, rather than as evidence of our inadequacy. When we approach ourselves with compassion, we create a safe space for emotional healing and resilience to flourish. This concept of self-compassion is central to emotional resilience because it provides a buffer against the negative emotions that arise during times of difficulty. Instead of being overwhelmed by guilt, shame, or self-doubt, self-compassion enables us to process these emotions in a healthy way so that we can learn from our experiences and move forward with greater strength and confidence. Breaking the cycle of self-deception. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception often leads to self-judgment and self-criticism. When we deceive ourselves about our motives, behaviors, or emotions, we create a distorted view of ourselves that can fuel feelings of inadequacy and guilt. This self-deception creates a vicious cycle where we judge ourselves harshly and then try to compensate by hiding our vulnerabilities or blaming others. Self-compassion breaks this cycle by encouraging us to face our flaws and mistakes with honesty and kindness rather than judgment. When we practice self-compassion, we are better able to accept responsibility for our actions without becoming overwhelmed by guilt or shame. This allows us to learn from our mistakes and grow, rather than remaining trapped in self-deception and self-blame. By cultivating self-compassion, we can develop a healthier relationship with ourselves, one that is based on self-awareness and acceptance, rather than self-deception and criticism. This shift in perspective is essential for personal transformation, as it enables us to move beyond our limiting beliefs and embrace new possibilities for growth and change. Biblical teachings on compassion and forgiveness. The Bible emphasizes the importance of compassion and forgiveness, both for others and for ourselves. In Ephesians 4, verse 32, we are instructed to be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. This passage not only highlights the value of extending compassion to others, but also reminds us that we are called to practice forgiveness, including self-forgiveness. Self-compassion, as a form of self-forgiveness, is essential for emotional resilience and personal transformation. When we hold on to guilt, shame, or resentment toward ourselves, we create emotional barriers that prevent us from experiencing the fullness of life. However, when we forgive ourselves and approach our mistakes with compassion, we open the door to healing, growth, and renewed strength. The Bible teaches that forgiveness is an act of grace, a way of letting go of the past and embracing the present with a heart of love. By practicing self-compassion and self-forgiveness, we follow this spiritual principle, allowing ourselves to be free from the weight of past mistakes and open to the possibilities of transformation. Buddhist teachings on self-compassion and impermanence. In Buddhist philosophy, the practice of self-compassion is closely tied to the concept of impermanence, anicca, which teaches that all things, our emotions, thoughts, and experiences, are constantly changing. By embracing impermanence, we learn to approach ourselves with gentleness and understanding, knowing that our mistakes and hardships are temporary and do not define us. Buddhism also emphasizes the practice of metta, or loving kindness, which encourages us to cultivate love and compassion for ourselves and others. Through loving kindness meditation, we learn to extend compassion toward ourselves, recognizing that we are worthy of love, care, and acceptance, regardless of our flaws or past mistakes. This practice of self-compassion helps us develop emotional resilience, as it allows us to navigate difficulties with a sense of grace and inner peace. Additionally, Buddhist teachings on non-attachment remind us that our worth is not tied to our achievements or failures. By practicing non-attachment, we learn to let go of the need for perfection and embrace the reality of our human experience, with all its ups and downs. This perspective fosters emotional resilience by helping us maintain a sense of inner peace, even in the face of life's challenges. Self-compassion as a path to resilience. Resilience is not just about enduring hardship, it is about growing through it. Self-compassion is a key ingredient in this growth because it allows us to approach challenges with an open heart and a flexible mindset. When we are compassionate with ourselves, we create the emotional space needed to process our feelings, learn from our experiences, and emerge stronger on the other side. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maltz emphasizes the importance of seeing ourselves as capable of growth and change. Self-compassion helps us cultivate this mindset by reminding us that we are always evolving and that setbacks and failures are part of the journey. This perspective fosters resilience by encouraging us to keep moving forward, even when the path is difficult. Self-compassion also strengthens our ability to manage stress and adversity. When we are kind to ourselves in difficult times, we reduce the impact of negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, and frustration. This emotional regulation allows us to maintain our inner balance and respond to challenges with greater clarity and composure. Practical steps for cultivating self-compassion and resilience. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate self-compassion and strengthen your emotional resilience. 1. Practice loving kindness. Meditation. Set aside time each day to practice loving kindness meditation, focusing on extending compassion and kindness toward yourself. Repeat affirmations such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at peace," and allow these words to nurture your sense of self-compassion. 2. Acknowledge your humanity. When you make a mistake or experience a setback, remind yourself that it's okay to be imperfect. Acknowledge that everyone experiences challenges and that your worth is not diminished by your mistakes. Embrace your humanity with kindness and understanding. 3. Challenge self-criticism. Pay attention to the inner dialogue you have with yourself, especially during difficult times. When you notice self-critical thoughts, pause and ask yourself whether you would speak to a friend in the same way. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion by offering yourself words of kindness and encouragement. 4. Reflect on impermanence. When facing a challenge, reflect on the Buddhist concept of impermanence. Remind yourself that this moment, like all moments, will pass. By embracing the transient nature of life, you can approach challenges with a sense of peace and acceptance. 5. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful way to foster self-compassion and emotional resilience. Take time each day to reflect on the things you are grateful for, even during difficult times. This practice helps shift your focus away from what's wrong and allows you to appreciate the positive aspects of your life. Transformation through compassion. Self-compassion is not just a tool for emotional resilience, it is a pathway to lasting personal transformation. By treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and grace, we create the emotional foundation needed to face life's challenges with strength and confidence. Through self-compassion, we heal, grow, and evolve into the best version of ourselves. As you continue your journey toward inner peace and personal transformation, remember that self-compassion is always available to you. It is the key to resilience, the source of healing, and the gateway to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. In the next chapter, we will explore how to embrace change as a natural part of life and how to use it as a catalyst for personal growth and spiritual awakening. Chapter 11. Embracing change as a catalyst for growth and the nature of change. Change is inevitable. Whether it's a shift in our personal circumstances, a change in our relationships, or the natural transitions that come with the passage of time, change is a constant in life. While many of us resist change, seeing it as a source of uncertainty or fear, it can also be one of the most powerful catalysts for personal growth and spiritual awakening. How we respond to change determines whether it becomes a source of suffering or an opportunity for transformation. When we embrace change with an open heart and a flexible mind, we allow ourselves to grow, evolve, and move closer to our true potential. This chapter will explore how to navigate change with grace, drawing on teachings from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, the Bible, and Buddhist philosophy. The fear of change and self-image. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz discusses how our self-image often dictates how we handle change. When we see ourselves as capable and resilient, we are more likely to approach change with confidence and curiosity. However, if we have a negative or rigid self-image, change can feel threatening, leading to resistance and fear. Fear of change is often rooted in the belief that we are not equipped to handle the unknown. We become attached to the familiar, even if it no longer serves us, because it feels safe. However, personal growth requires us to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the discomfort of the unknown. Maltz reminds us that our self-image is not fixed. It can be reshaped and transformed. By adopting a more flexible and growth-oriented self-image, we can navigate change with greater ease. Self-deception and resistance to change. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception can lead to resistance to change. When we are caught in self-deception, we often justify our current behaviors and circumstances, even when they are not serving us. This resistance to seeing the truth can prevent us from embracing the changes we need to make in order to grow. Self-deception keeps us stuck in patterns of thinking and behavior that limit our potential. We may convince ourselves that we don't need to change or that change is too difficult, when in reality, we are afraid of the vulnerability that comes with transformation. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to confront our fears and be honest with ourselves about where we are and where we need to go. By cultivating self-awareness, we can recognize when we are resisting change out of fear or self-deception. This awareness allows us to open ourselves up to new possibilities and embrace the changes that are necessary for our growth. Buddhist teachings on impermanence and change. Buddhist philosophy offers profound insights into the nature of change. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is the concept of anicca, or impermanence. According to this teaching, everything in life is in a constant state of flux. Our thoughts, emotions, relationships, and even our sense of self. By accepting the impermanent nature of all things, we learn to approach change with acceptance and equanimity. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we cling to things as though they are permanent, when we resist the natural flow of change. Whether it's clinging to material possessions, relationships, or our identities, this attachment creates tension and suffering. The practice of non-attachment allows us to release our grip on the things we cannot control and embrace the ever-changing nature of life. Through mindfulness and meditation, we can develop the capacity to be present with change without becoming overwhelmed by it. This practice helps us cultivate inner peace, even in the face of uncertainty, as we learn to trust the natural unfolding of life. Biblical insights on transformation and renewal. The Bible offers many teachings on the importance of embracing change as a path to renewal and spiritual growth. One of the most powerful verses on this topic comes from Romans 12:2, which says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." This passage highlights the importance of renewing our minds, of being open to change and transformation in our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. It reminds us that spiritual growth requires us to let go of old patterns that no longer serve us and embrace the new ways in which God is calling us to grow. The Bible also teaches that change and renewal are often guided by faith. In 2 Corinthians 5:17, we are told, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here." This verse emphasizes the idea that embracing change, whether through faith or personal transformation, leads to new beginnings and deeper spiritual fulfillment. Navigating change with grace and resilience. Change can be unsettling, but it is also an opportunity for growth. By approaching change with resilience and grace, we can turn even the most challenging transitions into opportunities for personal transformation. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maltz emphasizes the importance of visualization in navigating change. By visualizing the person we want to become and the life we want to create, we can train our minds to adapt to change with confidence and intention. This mental rehearsal allows us to see change as an opportunity rather than a threat, making it easier to take action and move forward. Resilience, which we explored in an earlier chapter, plays a crucial role in how we handle change. Resilience allows us to stay grounded and maintain our inner peace, even when life throws unexpected challenges our way. By cultivating emotional resilience, we develop the strength to bounce back from setbacks and approach change with a positive, growth-oriented mindset. Practical steps for embracing change. Here are some practical steps you can take to embrace change as a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. 1. Practice non-attachment. Reflect on the things in your life that you may be clinging to, whether it's a job, a relationship, or an identity. Change as a gateway to transformation. Change is not something to be feared. It is a gateway to transformation. By embracing change with an open heart and a flexible mind, we allow ourselves to grow, evolve, and step into our true potential. Change challenges us to let go of the old and make room for the new, leading us to deeper spiritual and personal fulfillment. As you continue on your journey of personal growth and transformation, remember that change is always an opportunity. By cultivating self-awareness, resilience, and a growth mindset, you can navigate the uncertainties of life with grace, confidence, and inner peace. In the next chapter, we will explore how setting intentions and aligning your life with your values can help you create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Chapter 12. Setting Intentions and Living with Purpose. The Power of Intention. Many people move through life on autopilot, going through the motions of daily routines without much thought or reflection. While this may create a sense of stability, it often leads to a feeling of disconnection or lack of purpose. Living with intention changes this. Setting clear intentions and aligning our lives with our values allows us to live with greater clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. Intentions serve as the guiding principles that shape our thoughts, actions, and decisions. Unlike goals, which focus on specific outcomes, intentions are rooted in how we want to be, how we want to live, and what we want to focus on each day. By setting powerful intentions and living in alignment with our values, we create a life that is both purposeful and deeply meaningful. This chapter will explore how to set intentions and live with purpose, drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy. We'll discuss how intentional living can transform your mindset, strengthen your sense of self, and help you create a more fulfilling life. The role of self-image in setting intentions. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the role of self-image in shaping our behaviors and outcomes. Our self-image is the mental blueprint that dictates how we see ourselves and what we believe we are capable of achieving. When we set intentions from a place of confidence and self-awareness, we reinforce a positive self-image that aligns with our highest potential. Conversely, if we set intentions from a place of doubt or insecurity, we may limit our ability to take meaningful action. It's important to approach intention setting with a mindset of self-compassion and empowerment. By believing in our ability to grow and change, we create intentions that reflect our true desires and aspirations, rather than being constrained by fear or self-doubt. Intentions should be aligned with the version of ourselves we want to become, rather than the limitations we've placed on ourselves in the past. This shift in perspective empowers us to live more intentionally, making choices that reflect our highest values and our vision for the future. Overcoming self-deception to live authentically. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception can hinder our ability to live authentically and with purpose. When we deceive ourselves about our true feelings, desires, or intentions, we often make choices that are misaligned with our core values. This disconnect leads to frustration, dissatisfaction, and a lack of fulfillment. Living with intention requires us to break free from self-deception and be honest with ourselves about what we truly want and need. This honesty enables us to set intentions that are aligned with our authentic selves rather than with societal expectations or the desires of others. Breaking free from self-deception also involves recognizing when we are making decisions based on fear or avoidance. Often, we set intentions that focus on what we want to avoid, such as avoiding failure or disappointment, rather than focusing on what we truly desire. By shifting our focus from avoidance to authentic desire, we create intentions that guide us toward a life of greater purpose and fulfillment. Buddhist teachings on intentional living. Buddhist philosophy teaches that living with intention is a vital part of the path to enlightenment. The concept of right intention is one of the elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, which outlines the way to end suffering and achieve spiritual awakening. Right intention involves setting intentions that are rooted in compassion, non-harming, and the pursuit of truth. Buddhism encourages us to be mindful of our intentions, recognizing that they are the seeds from which our actions grow. When we set intentions that are aligned with compassion, kindness, and wisdom, we cultivate a life that is peaceful, purposeful, and fulfilling. However, when our intentions are driven by greed, anger, or attachment, we create suffering for ourselves and others. Through mindfulness and self-reflection, we can become more aware of our underlying intentions and make conscious choices that align with our values. This practice helps us live with greater integrity and purpose, allowing us to contribute to the well-being of ourselves and those around us. Biblical insights on purpose and intentions. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of living with purpose and intention. One of the most well-known verses on this topic is found in Proverbs 16:3, which states, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." This passage highlights the importance of aligning our intentions with our spiritual values and trusting that when we act with integrity, our plans will be guided and supported. The Bible teaches that purpose is not something we must strive for or achieve on our own. Instead, purpose is something that unfolds as we align our lives with our faith and values. In Jeremiah 29:11, we are reminded of God's plan for each of us. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This verse encourages us to trust in a higher purpose and to live with the intention of fulfilling our divine calling. Living with intention, according to biblical teachings, requires us to focus not only on our own desires, but also on how we can serve others. By setting intentions that are rooted in love, service, and faith, we create a life that is not only meaningful for ourselves, but also beneficial to those around us. Aligning your life with your values. Living with intention means aligning your life with your values. Your values are the principles that guide your decisions and actions, reflecting what is most important to you. When your intentions are in alignment with your values, you create a sense of harmony and fulfillment in your life. However, when your actions are misaligned with your values, it can lead to internal conflict, stress, and dissatisfaction. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maltz encourages us to regularly reflect on our values and to make sure that our self-image and goals are consistent with those values. This practice helps us maintain clarity and focus, ensuring that we are living in alignment with our true selves. To live with intention, it is essential to identify your core values and use them as a guide for decision-making. Ask yourself questions such as, what is most important to me? And how can I live in a way that reflects these values? By setting intentions that are aligned with your values, you create a life that feels purposeful and authentic. Practical steps for setting intentions and living with purpose. Here are some practical steps you can take to set intentions and live with greater purpose. 1. Identify your core values. Take time to reflect on your core values, the principles that are most important to you. These might include values such as love, honesty, compassion, or growth. Once you've identified your values, use them as a foundation for setting your intentions. 2. Set clear intentions. Each day, set clear intentions for how you want to show up in the world. These intentions can be focused on your behavior, your mindset, or your goals. For example, you might set an intention to practice kindness, approach challenges with curiosity, or to focus on personal growth. 3. Reflect on your intentions regularly. Make it a habit to regularly reflect on your intentions and evaluate whether your actions are aligned with them. This practice helps you stay focused on your purpose and adjust your actions if needed. 4. Visualize your desired life. Use visualization to create a clear mental image of the life you want to live. Imagine yourself embodying your values and fulfilling your intentions. This practice helps reinforce your intentions and motivates you to take action. 5. Live mindfully. Practice mindfulness in your daily life by staying present and aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Mindfulness allows you to make intentional choices rather than reacting impulsively or out of habit. 6. Trust in the process. Recognize that living with intention is a journey, not a destination. Trust in the process, knowing that as you align your life with your values and intentions, you will continue to grow and evolve. Creating a life of purpose. Living with intention and aligning your life with your values is the key to creating a life of purpose and fulfillment. By setting clear intentions, breaking free from self-deception, and embracing your core values, you can navigate life with greater clarity, confidence, and peace. Intentional living empowers you to make choices that reflect your true self and contribute to the well-being of others, leading to a life that is both meaningful and impactful. As you continue on your journey, remember that the power of intention lies in your ability to choose how you show up each day. By living with purpose and aligning your life with your values, you can create a life that reflects your highest potential and deepest desires. In the next chapter, we will explore the importance of balance and harmony in all areas of life, and how cultivating balance can lead to a more peaceful, centered, and fulfilling existence. Chapter 13. Cultivating balance and harmony in life in the search for balance. In our fast-paced world, many of us struggle to find balance. We juggle numerous responsibilities, work, family, relationships, and personal goals, and often we feel pulled in different directions. This constant tug-of-war between the various aspects of life can leave us feeling drained, overwhelmed, and disconnected from ourselves. Balance is not about having equal parts of everything in your life. It's about creating harmony between your different priorities so that you can live a peaceful and fulfilling life. When we cultivate balance, we create space for both productivity and rest, action and reflection, personal achievement, and spiritual growth. This sense of balance allows us to move through life with greater ease and clarity. In this chapter, we will explore the importance of balance and harmony in all areas of life, drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy. We will examine how to cultivate balance between our responsibilities and well-being, and how doing so creates a foundation for lasting inner peace. Balancing work, relationships, and self-care. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of maintaining a healthy self-image as the key to success and happiness. Part of developing a healthy self-image is learning to balance the different aspects of your life, so that none become neglected or overburdened. When we focus too much on one area of life, such as work, while neglecting others like self-care or relationships, it can create inner turmoil and emotional distress. One of the keys to achieving balance is prioritization. When we are clear about our values and goals, we can make more intentional decisions about how we spend our time and energy. For example, if your relationships and personal well-being are important to you, it's essential to allocate time for nurturing those areas, even in the midst of a busy work schedule. Balance is about making conscious choices that align with your values and create a sense of harmony in your life. Self-care is particularly important when cultivating balance. Often we become so focused on achieving external success that we neglect our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. Self-care is not a luxury. It is a necessity for maintaining balance and ensuring that we have the energy and emotional capacity to handle the challenges of life. Self-deception and the imbalance of overcommitment. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception can lead to overcommitment and burnout. When we deceive ourselves about our capabilities or the importance of certain tasks, we may take on more than we can handle, leading to stress and exhaustion. This tendency to overcommit can create a sense of imbalance in our lives, where we are constantly working or focusing on external achievements at the expense of our personal well-being. Self-deception also keeps us from recognizing when we need to take a break or ask for help. We may convince ourselves that we must do everything on our own, or that we are somehow failing if we don't meet certain expectations. This mentality creates an imbalance between productivity and rest, causing us to feel overworked and disconnected from our deeper needs. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to be honest with ourselves about our limits and priorities. It involves recognizing when we are overcommitting and taking steps to create a more balanced approach to life. This might mean saying no to certain commitments, delegating tasks, or setting boundaries to protect our time and energy. Buddhist teachings on the middle way. In Buddhism, balance is a central theme, embodied in the concept of the middle way. The middle way is the path of moderation, avoiding the extremes of self-indulgence and self-denial. It teaches us to find harmony in our lives by avoiding excess in any one area and seeking a balanced approach to all aspects of life. The Buddha himself discovered the middle way after experiencing the extremes of both wealth and asceticism. He realized that neither extreme brought lasting happiness or spiritual fulfillment. Instead, the path to enlightenment lies in balance, nurturing both the body and mind, fulfilling our responsibilities while also attending to our spiritual growth. The middle way can be applied to modern life by encouraging us to find a balance between work, rest, relationships, and personal growth. It reminds us that we don't need to sacrifice one area of life for the sake of another. By embracing moderation and harmony, we can create a life that is both productive and peaceful. Biblical teachings on rest and renewal. The Bible also teaches the importance of balance, particularly the balance between work and rest. In Genesis 2, verse 2-3, we see that even God rested on the seventh day after creating the world, establishing the principle of Sabbath rest. This teaches us that rest is not only important, but also sacred. It is a time for renewal, reflection, and spiritual connection. In Matthew 11, verse 28-30, Jesus invites us to rest, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." This passage emphasizes the importance of finding rest for both the body and the soul, recognizing that balance is essential for spiritual well-being. The Bible encourages us to work diligently, but also to rest in faith, trusting that we don't have to carry all of life's burdens on our own. By balancing work with rest and spiritual reflection, we create a rhythm of life that nurtures both our external responsibilities and our inner needs. The consequences of imbalance. When we live in a state of imbalance, the consequences can manifest in various ways: physical exhaustion, emotional burnout, strained relationships, or a sense of disconnection from our spiritual selves. Imbalance creates stress and tension as we try to meet the demands of life without taking time to replenish our energy or reflect on our deeper purpose. Physically, imbalance often leads to fatigue and burnout. When we are constantly working without taking time to rest or engage in self-care, our bodies and minds become depleted. Emotionally, imbalance can lead to frustration, anxiety, and resentment, especially if we feel like we are neglecting important aspects of life, such as our relationships or personal well-being. Spiritually, imbalance can create a sense of emptiness or disconnection. When we are so focused on external achievements, we may lose touch with our inner selves and our spiritual practices. This disconnection can leave us feeling unfulfilled, even if we are successful in other areas of life. Cultivating balance in daily life. Achieving balance is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice that requires mindfulness, self-reflection, and intentional choices. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate balance and harmony in your daily life. 1. Set priorities. Reflect on what is most important to you, whether it's your relationships, career, personal growth, or spiritual practice. Set clear priorities and make intentional decisions about how to allocate your time and energy. Be mindful of how much time you spend on each aspect of your life and make adjustments as needed to create a sense of balance. 2. Practice mindfulness. Incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine to help you stay present and aware of your emotional and physical state. Mindfulness allows you to recognize when you are becoming overwhelmed or out of balance, allowing you to pause and make adjustments. 3. Schedule time for rest and reflection. Make rest a priority by scheduling regular breaks, downtime, and moments of reflection. This might include taking a walk in nature, practicing meditation, or simply spending time doing something you enjoy. Rest is essential for maintaining balance and preventing burnout. 4. Create boundaries. Setting boundaries is key to maintaining balance. This might involve setting limits on your work hours, saying no to commitments that don't align with your priorities, or protecting time for self-care and spiritual practice. Boundaries help you create space for the things that matter most. 5. Embrace the middle way. Apply the Buddhist concept of the middle way by practicing moderation in all aspects of life. Avoid extremes, whether it's working too much or neglecting responsibilities. Strive for harmony by finding a balanced approach to work, relationships, rest, and personal growth. Finding harmony in life. Balance is not about perfection. It's about creating harmony between the different aspects of your life so that you can live with peace, clarity, and fulfillment. By setting clear priorities, practicing mindfulness, and embracing both work and rest, you can cultivate a life that feels centered and aligned with your deepest values. As you continue your journey, remember that balance is an ongoing practice. It requires regular reflection, self-awareness, and intentional choices. By cultivating balance, you create the foundation for lasting inner peace, resilience, and spiritual fulfillment. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of gratitude and how practicing gratitude can transform your perspective, enhance your relationships, and lead to a more joyful and fulfilling life. Chapter 14. The power of gratitude. A shift in perspective. Gratitude is one of the most powerful and transformative emotions we can cultivate. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have, changing our perception of life and allowing us to experience deeper joy, peace, and fulfillment. When we practice gratitude, we become more aware of the abundance that surrounds us, even in the midst of challenges. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of more success, more possessions, more recognition. But this constant striving often leaves us feeling empty or dissatisfied. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by encouraging us to appreciate the present moment and recognize the gifts that life has already given us. It's a practice that not only uplifts our spirits, but also fosters resilience, enhances our relationships, and leads to greater well-being. In this chapter, we will explore the power of gratitude and how to integrate it into daily life, drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy. We will examine how gratitude can transform your mindset, improve your relationships, and open the door to greater peace and happiness. Gratitude and self-image. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes the importance of cultivating a positive self-image to achieve success and happiness. A key aspect of maintaining a healthy self-image is gratitude, specifically gratitude for oneself. When we appreciate our own efforts, progress, and unique qualities, we reinforce a positive self-concept that helps us navigate life with confidence and purpose. Gratitude for oneself doesn't mean being arrogant or self-centered. It's about acknowledging your growth, strengths, and resilience. Many of us are quick to criticize ourselves or focus on our shortcomings, but gratitude shifts this focus. Instead of dwelling on what we haven't accomplished or how we've fallen short, gratitude encourages us to celebrate our efforts and the progress we've made. By practicing gratitude for ourselves, we nurture a self-image that is compassionate and empowering. This shift in perspective allows us to move forward with greater confidence and joy, knowing that we are already enough as we are while still striving for growth. Gratitude and emotional awareness. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors discuss how self-deception clouds our emotional awareness and creates conflict in our relationships. When we are caught in self-deception, we focus on our grievances, what others have done wrong, or what we believe we are owed. This mindset leads to frustration, resentment, and a sense of disconnection from others. Gratitude, on the other hand, is an antidote to self-deception. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what we don't have to what we do have. This simple shift in perspective opens our hearts and minds, allowing us to see the good in ourselves and others. Gratitude breaks the cycle of self-deception by fostering a sense of appreciation and connection, rather than frustration and separation. When we are grateful, we become more emotionally aware of the positive aspects of our relationships. We recognize the kindness, support, and love that others bring into our lives, and this awareness strengthens our emotional bonds. Gratitude not only transforms our relationship with ourselves, but also deepens our connection with others. Buddhist teachings on gratitude and impermanence. Buddhist philosophy teaches that all things are impermanent, including our experiences, relationships, and material possessions. This understanding of impermanence, known as anicca, encourages us to appreciate the present moment and to practice gratitude for the fleeting beauty and blessings that life offers. In Buddhism, gratitude is closely linked to mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of the current moment. By cultivating mindfulness, we become more attuned to the small joys and blessings that we often overlook. Gratitude becomes a natural extension of mindfulness as we learn to appreciate the simple yet profound aspects of life, such as the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, or the presence of loved ones. The practice of non-attachment, also central to Buddhism, teaches us not to cling to the material world or our desires. By practicing gratitude for what we have, rather than always seeking more, we develop a sense of contentment and peace. Gratitude helps us recognize that we already have everything we need to be happy in this moment and that true fulfillment comes from within. Biblical teachings on gratitude. The Bible offers powerful lessons on the importance of gratitude, encouraging us to give thanks in all circumstances. One of the most well-known verses on gratitude is 1 Thessalonians 5:18, which states, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." This verse reminds us that gratitude is not dependent on external conditions. It is a choice we make regardless of the challenges we face. Gratitude, according to the Bible, is an act of faith and trust. When we practice gratitude, we acknowledge that everything we have is a gift from God, and that even in difficult times there is reason to give thanks. This perspective helps us cultivate resilience and maintain a positive outlook, even when life doesn't go as planned. The Bible also teaches that gratitude brings us closer to God and strengthens our spiritual connection. In Psalm 104, we are encouraged to enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. This passage emphasizes that gratitude is not just about recognizing the blessings in our lives, it is a way of honoring and drawing closer to the divine. The transformative effects of gratitude. Gratitude has profound effects on both our mental and emotional well-being. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we activate positive emotions such as joy, contentment, and love. These emotions not only uplift our spirits, but also create a ripple effect, enhancing our overall outlook on life and improving our relationships with others. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can lead to numerous benefits, including improved mood, better physical health, increased resilience, and stronger relationships. By regularly focusing on the good in our lives, we retrain our brains to notice and appreciate the positive, which in turn reduces stress and fosters a sense of well-being. Gratitude also helps us navigate challenges with grace. When we face difficulties, practicing gratitude allows us to shift our focus from what is going wrong to what is still going right. This perspective shift helps us maintain hope and resilience in the face of adversity, making it easier to persevere and find solutions. Gratitude in relationships? Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to strengthen relationships. When we express gratitude to others, we acknowledge their contributions and show that we value them. This simple act of appreciation fosters connection, trust, and mutual respect. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors emphasize the importance of seeing others as people, not objects. Gratitude helps us do this by encouraging us to recognize the positive qualities and actions of those around us. When we focus on what we appreciate about others, rather than on what we think they should change, we create space for deeper understanding and compassion. Gratitude also helps us navigate conflicts in relationships. When we practice gratitude, we are less likely to become defensive or resentful during disagreements. Instead, we can approach conflicts with a sense of appreciation for the other person and a desire to find common ground. This mindset fosters healthier communication and more harmonious relationships. Practical steps for cultivating gratitude. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate gratitude in your daily life. 1. Keep a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few moments to write down 3 things you are grateful for. This simple practice helps you focus on the positive aspects of your life and reinforces a mindset of appreciation. 2. Express gratitude to others. Make a habit of expressing gratitude to the people in your life, whether through a kind word, a thank you note, or a small gesture of appreciation. Showing gratitude strengthens your relationships and deepens your connections. 3. Practice mindfulness. Incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine by paying attention to the present moment and appreciating the small joys of life. Whether it's the taste of your morning coffee or the sound of birds chirping, mindfulness helps you cultivate gratitude for the simple pleasures that surround you. 4. Shift your focus. When facing challenges or setbacks, practice shifting your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right. Ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this situation? This mindset shift helps you navigate difficulties with resilience and optimism. 5. Gratitude meditation. Set aside time for a gratitude meditation where you focus on the people, experiences, and things in your life that you are thankful for. Allow feelings of appreciation to fill your heart and mind, creating a sense of peace and contentment. A life of gratitude. Gratitude is more than just a practice. It is a way of life. When we cultivate gratitude, we open ourselves to greater joy, resilience, and connection. Gratitude transforms our perspective, allowing us to appreciate the abundance that already exists in our lives and to navigate challenges with grace. As you continue on your journey, remember that gratitude is always available to you. It is a choice you can make at any moment, regardless of your circumstances. By practicing gratitude, you create a life that is not only rich in blessings, but also filled with peace. Chapter 15. The power of forgiveness and letting go. The freedom in forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful, yet challenging practices in the pursuit of inner peace and emotional freedom. Whether it involves forgiving others for the wrongs they've done to us, or forgiving ourselves for our own mistakes, the act of letting go allows us to release the emotional burdens we carry. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the grip of resentment, anger, and guilt, and we open the door to healing and transformation. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful actions or forgetting the hurt we've experienced. Rather, it is a conscious choice to let go of the emotional weight that these experiences carry. By forgiving, we take back control of our emotional and spiritual well-being, allowing ourselves to move forward without being held back by the past. In this chapter, we will explore the transformative power of forgiveness and letting go, drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy. We will examine how forgiveness helps us release negative emotions, heal from past wounds, and cultivate greater peace and freedom in our lives. Forgiveness and self-image. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz discusses how our self-image plays a critical role in how we perceive and process the need for forgiveness. When we hold on to guilt, shame, or resentment, we damage our self-image and create emotional barriers that prevent us from experiencing peace. Forgiving ourselves and others allows us to restore a healthy self-image by releasing the emotional weight that drags us down. Maltz emphasizes that self-forgiveness is essential for personal growth and happiness. Many of us are far harder on ourselves than we are on others, replaying our mistakes in our minds and punishing ourselves long after the fact. This self-criticism erodes our self-esteem and creates a negative feedback loop that undermines our confidence and well-being. To break free from this cycle, we must practice self-forgiveness. This means acknowledging our mistakes, taking responsibility for them, and then letting go of the guilt associated with them. By forgiving ourselves, we affirm that we are worthy of love, growth, and happiness, despite our imperfections. The role of self-deception in holding on to resentment. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception keeps us trapped in cycles of resentment and blame. When we deceive ourselves about our role in conflicts or difficult situations, we may project blame onto others while avoiding accountability for our own actions. This self-deception prevents us from seeing the full picture and creates emotional barriers that keep us stuck in resentment. Self-deception often involves creating a narrative where we are the victim and others are to blame. While it may feel comforting in the moment, this mindset traps us in a cycle of negativity and prevents us from taking the steps necessary for healing and resolution. Letting go of resentment requires us to be honest with ourselves, acknowledge our own role in the situation, and release the need to hold others responsible for our emotional state. Forgiveness, in this context, involves breaking free from self-deception and taking ownership of our emotions and actions. It allows us to see situations more clearly, take responsibility for our part, and move forward with a sense of peace and closure. Buddhist teachings on letting go of attachment and anger. Buddhist philosophy offers profound insights into the nature of forgiveness and letting go. According to Buddhist teachings, attachment to negative emotions such as anger, resentment, or guilt creates suffering. These attachments cloud our judgment and keep us stuck in the past, unable to move forward. The practice of letting go is central to achieving inner peace and spiritual liberation. In Buddhism, metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, are essential practices for cultivating forgiveness. By extending love and compassion to ourselves and others, we can begin to dissolve the emotional barriers that keep us trapped in anger and resentment. Loving kindness meditation, for example, encourages us to send thoughts of love and forgiveness to ourselves, to those who have wronged us, and even to those we struggle to forgive. The concept of non-attachment is also key to forgiveness. When we hold on to anger or resentment, we become attached to the idea that we have been wronged and that the person responsible must somehow be punished. Non-attachment teaches us to release this need for retribution and to recognize that holding on to anger only harms ourselves. Letting go of attachment allows us to forgive, not for the benefit of the other person, but for our own peace and freedom. Biblical teachings on forgiveness and grace. The Bible offers clear and powerful guidance on the importance of forgiveness, both for ourselves and for others. One of the most well-known teachings on this topic comes from Matthew 18, verse 21 to 22, where Peter asks Jesus, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me?" "Up to 7 times. Jesus responds, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. This passage emphasizes the boundless nature of forgiveness and the importance of continually letting go of resentment and offering grace. Forgiveness is a central theme in Christianity, rooted in the belief that we are all recipients of God's grace. In Ephesians 4:32, we are encouraged to be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. This teaching reminds us that forgiveness is not only an act of grace toward others, but also a reflection of the grace we have received. Forgiveness, according to biblical teachings, is a spiritual practice that allows us to release the burdens of anger, resentment, and guilt. It is an act of faith that frees us from the past and opens the door to healing and reconciliation. The consequences of holding on to resentment. When we hold on to resentment or anger, we create emotional and spiritual barriers that block us from experiencing inner peace and fulfillment. These negative emotions can fester and grow, affecting not only our mental and emotional health, but also our physical well-being. Chronic resentment can lead to stress, anxiety, and even physical ailments, as the body responds to the emotional tension we carry. Moreover, holding on to resentment keeps us stuck in the past, unable to move forward or fully embrace the present. We become consumed by what has happened, replaying it in our minds, and reliving the pain over and over again. This prevents us from experiencing joy, growth, and new possibilities. By letting go of resentment and embracing forgiveness, we release ourselves from the emotional prison we've built. We free up mental and emotional space to focus on positive, life-affirming experiences, and we allow ourselves to heal. Practical steps for practicing forgiveness and letting go. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate forgiveness and let go of the emotional burdens you may be carrying. 1. Acknowledge the hurt. Begin by acknowledging the hurt you've experienced, whether it's from someone else's actions or your own. Allow yourself to fully feel the pain and disappointment without judgment or suppression. 2. Reflect on your role. Take time to reflect on your role in the situation. Are there ways in which self-deception may have influenced your perspective? Are there areas where you can take responsibility for your emotions or actions? This self-reflection helps you gain clarity and move toward forgiveness. 3. Practice loving-kindness meditation. Engage in a loving-kindness meditation, focusing on sending love and forgiveness to yourself and to those who have wronged you. Repeat phrases such as, "May I be at peace," "May I forgive," "May I let go," and "May they be at peace," "May they be forgiven." 4. Let go of attachment. Recognize that holding on to anger or resentment only harms you. Practice non-attachment by releasing the need for retribution or the desire for the other person to change. Let go of the emotional attachment to the past and focus on your own healing and well-being. 5. Seek closure through action. Sometimes closure may require taking action, such as having a conversation with the person who hurt you or writing a letter, even if you don't send it. This action can help you process the emotions involved and move forward with a sense of resolution. Forgiveness as a path to peace. Forgiveness is not always easy, but it is one of the most powerful tools we have for achieving inner peace and emotional freedom. By practicing forgiveness and letting go, we release the emotional burdens that hold us back and open ourselves to healing, growth, and new possibilities. As you continue on your journey, remember that forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It is a way of freeing yourself from the past and embracing the present with an open heart. Whether you are forgiving yourself or others, the act of letting go will bring you closer to the peace and fulfillment you seek. In the next chapter, we will explore how living in alignment with your true self can lead to greater authenticity, joy, and spiritual fulfillment. Chapter 16. Living in alignment with your true self, the journey to authenticity. At the heart of personal growth and spiritual fulfillment is the journey toward living in alignment with your true self. Authenticity means embracing who you are, your values, desires, strengths, and even your imperfections, without fear of judgment or the need to conform to others' expectations. When we live authentically, we are in harmony with our inner truth, and this alignment brings joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. However, many of us struggle with authenticity. We are conditioned by societal expectations, family pressures, or our own fears to present a version of ourselves that may not be true to who we really are. This disconnection from our true selves can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, emptiness, or even anxiety. Living in alignment with your true self requires the courage to embrace vulnerability, the wisdom to listen to your inner voice, and the strength to live according to your values. In this chapter, we will explore the power of authenticity and how living in alignment with your true self can lead to greater joy and spiritual fulfillment. Drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy, we will examine how to cultivate authenticity and live a life that reflects your highest potential. The role of self-image in authentic living. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz emphasizes that our self-image is the foundation of everything we do. The way we perceive ourselves directly influences how we live, the choices we make, and how we interact with others. When we have a healthy, positive self-image, we are more likely to live authentically, as we feel secure in who we are and confident in our values. However, when our self-image is based on external validation or societal expectations, we may find ourselves living a life that is misaligned with our true desires and values. This disconnect between our self-image and our authentic self can lead to inner conflict and dissatisfaction. Maltz encourages us to examine our self-image and ensure that it reflects our true selves rather than the expectations of others. This involves letting go of the need for approval and trusting that we are worthy just as we are. By aligning our self-image with our authentic self, We free ourselves to live a life that is true to who we are, rather than who we think we should be. Breaking free from self-deception. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors explore how self-deception keeps us from living authentically. Self-deception occurs when we create false narratives about ourselves, often to protect our egos or avoid uncomfortable truths. We may convince ourselves that we need to be a certain way to be accepted, or that we cannot pursue our true desires because of fear or societal pressure. Breaking free from self-deception requires us to be honest with ourselves about who we are and what we truly want in life. It involves facing the fears and limiting beliefs that keep us from living authentically. By acknowledging our true desires and values, we can begin to make choices that are aligned with our inner truth, rather than based on external expectations. Living authentically means rejecting the false narratives that have been imposed on us by society, family, or even our own fears. It requires courage to break free from these limitations and embrace the truth of who we are. When we do, we open the door to greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. Biblical teachings on authenticity and integrity. The Bible offers profound insights into the importance of living with authenticity and integrity. In Proverbs 4:23, we are instructed to, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This verse reminds us that our heart, our innermost being and true self, is the source of our actions and choices. To live authentically, we must stay true to our hearts and allow our actions to flow from our core values and beliefs. Authenticity is also reflected in the biblical concept of integrity. Integrity means living in alignment with your values, being honest with yourself and others, and maintaining consistency between your beliefs and your actions. In James 1:22, we are called to be doers of the word and not hearers only. This emphasizes the importance of aligning our actions with our beliefs and living authentically, rather than merely professing our values without embodying them. The Bible teaches that living authentically requires humility and courage. It asks us to live in truth even when that truth is difficult or unpopular. By aligning our lives with our values and our faith, we experience a deeper connection with God and a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. Buddhist teachings on living authentically. In Buddhism, living authentically is closely tied to the concept of right view and right intention, which are part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right view refers to seeing things as they truly are, without delusion or attachment to false beliefs. This includes seeing ourselves clearly, recognizing our true nature, and letting go of the ego-driven desires that distort our perception. Right intention involves setting intentions that are aligned with compassion, wisdom, and truth. When we live with right intention, we act from a place of authenticity, rather than from fear, attachment, or the desire for approval. This practice helps us stay grounded in our true selves and live in alignment with our spiritual values. Buddhism also teaches the importance of non-attachment in living authentically. Non-attachment means letting go of the need for external validation, material success, or approval from others. When we are free from attachment, we can live according to our inner truth, without being swayed by societal expectations or fear of judgment. By embracing mindfulness and self-awareness, we can connect more deeply with our authentic selves and live in a way that reflects our true nature. This practice of authenticity leads to greater peace, fulfillment, and spiritual growth. The consequences of living out of alignment. When we live out of alignment with our true selves, the consequences can manifest in various ways. We may feel disconnected from our purpose, experience dissatisfaction in our relationships, or struggle with feelings of anxiety or emptiness. This disconnection from our authentic selves creates internal conflict, as we are constantly trying to fit into roles or expectations that don't resonate with who we truly are. Living out of alignment also affects our relationships. When we are not authentic, we may attract relationships that are based on false pretenses, leading to superficial connections and misunderstandings. Authenticity fosters deeper, more meaningful relationships, as it allows us to connect with others from a place of truth and vulnerability. Moreover, living inauthentically can prevent us from reaching our full potential. When we deny our true desires and talents in favor of what we think we should do, we limit our growth and stifle our creativity. By embracing authenticity, we unlock the potential for greater fulfillment, success, and personal growth. Practical steps for living authentically. Here are some practical steps you can take to live in alignment with your true self. 1. Reflect on your values. Take time to reflect on your core values, the principles that guide your decisions and actions. Are your current choices aligned with these values? If not, consider what changes you can make to live more authentically. 2. Be honest with yourself. Practice radical honesty with yourself about your desires, fears, and beliefs. Are there areas of your life where you are living inauthentically? Acknowledge these areas and commit to making changes that align with your true self. 3. Let go of external validation. Release the need for approval or validation from others. Recognize that your worth is not determined by external opinions or achievements. Trust in your inner wisdom and live according to your values, even if it means going against societal norms. 4. Practice mindfulness. Incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine to help you stay connected with your inner truth. Mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, helping you make choices that are aligned with your authentic self. 5. Take courageous action. Living authentically often requires taking bold steps. Whether it's pursuing a passion, setting boundaries, or speaking your truth, practice courage by taking actions that reflect your true desires and values. The joy of authentic living. Living in alignment with your true self is one of the most liberating and fulfilling experiences you can have. It allows you to move through life with clarity, purpose, and joy, knowing that you are living in harmony with your values and desires. By embracing authenticity, you free yourself from the expectations and pressures that keep you disconnected from your true nature. As you continue your journey, remember that authenticity is not about perfection. It's about being true to yourself, even in the face of challenges. By living in alignment with your true self, you create a life that reflects your highest potential and brings you closer to lasting peace and fulfillment. In the next chapter, we will explore how to cultivate spiritual awareness and deepen your connection with the divine, leading to a more meaningful and enlightened life. Chapter 17: Cultivating Spiritual Awareness and Connection with the Divine, the Path to Spiritual Fulfillment. Throughout this journey, we have explored self-awareness, authenticity, resilience, forgiveness, and gratitude, all of which contribute to inner peace and personal transformation. Now, in this final chapter, we focus on one of the most profound aspects of the human experience: spiritual awareness and our connection to the divine. Whether you find your spiritual path in religion, mindfulness, nature, or something entirely personal, cultivating spiritual awareness can help you discover greater meaning, peace, and fulfillment in your life. Spiritual awareness involves recognizing and deepening your relationship with a higher power, the universe, or the sacredness of life itself. It means living with an understanding that there is something greater than yourself guiding your journey. Cultivating this awareness brings clarity, purpose, and inner peace, helping you navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. In this chapter, we will explore how to deepen your spiritual awareness and nurture your connection with the divine. Drawing from Psycho-Cybernetics, leadership and self-deception, biblical teachings, and Buddhist philosophy, we will discuss how spiritual awareness enhances your sense of purpose, peace, and fulfillment. The role of spiritual awareness in personal transformation. In Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz touches on the concept of a higher power and how our self-image and success are connected to our spiritual understanding. While much of the book focuses on the psychological aspects of self-image, Maltz also acknowledges that personal transformation is not just about mental and emotional shifts. It's also about a spiritual shift. Maltz emphasizes that true happiness and fulfillment come from aligning your self-image with your higher purpose. This higher purpose often transcends individual desires and is connected to a larger spiritual understanding of life. When we cultivate spiritual awareness, we begin to see ourselves not just as individuals striving for success, but as part of a greater interconnected whole. This perspective brings deeper meaning to our lives and allows us to navigate challenges with a sense of faith and trust. Spiritual awareness also enhances our resilience, as it provides a sense of comfort and guidance during difficult times. By trusting in a higher power or the natural flow of the universe, we can approach adversity with a sense of peace, knowing that we are supported on our journey. Breaking free from self-deception on the spiritual path. In Leadership and Self-Deception, the authors discuss how self-deception not only affects our relationships with others, but also hinders our spiritual growth. When we are caught in self-deception, we often become disconnected from our true spiritual nature. We may become overly focused on material success, external validation, or ego-driven desires, rather than nurturing our spiritual well-being. Breaking free from self-deception on the spiritual path involves recognizing the ways in which we may be neglecting our spiritual needs in favor of worldly pursuits. This might include acknowledging that we are too focused on work, status, or possessions, while ignoring the deeper longing for connection with the divine. Spiritual awareness requires us to shift our focus from external achievements to inner growth and understanding. It involves letting go of the ego-driven need for control and trusting in the wisdom of the universe or a higher power. By embracing humility, self-reflection, and a commitment to spiritual practices, we can break free from self-deception and deepen our connection with the divine. Biblical teachings on spiritual awareness and divine connection. The Bible provides timeless guidance on cultivating spiritual awareness and deepening our relationship with God. One of the most profound passages on this topic comes from Proverbs 3, verse 5-6, which states, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." This passage encourages us to trust in God's wisdom and guidance, even when we do not fully understand the path ahead. Spiritual awareness, according to biblical teachings, is rooted in trust, faith, and surrender. It involves recognizing that we are not in control of everything and that there is a divine plan at work in our lives. By cultivating a deep trust in God, we can let go of fear and uncertainty, knowing that we are being guided and supported on our journey. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of prayer, meditation, and reflection in nurturing spiritual awareness. In Psalm 46:10, we are reminded to be still and know that I am God. This passage highlights the need for stillness and contemplation in our spiritual practice. By creating space for quiet reflection, we allow ourselves to connect more deeply with the divine and receive the guidance and wisdom we seek. Buddhist teachings on spiritual enlightenment and awareness. In Buddhism, spiritual awareness is closely tied to the practice of mindfulness and meditation. The Buddha taught that enlightenment, the highest state of spiritual awareness, comes from seeing the true nature of reality and transcending the illusions of the ego. This practice involves cultivating a deep awareness of the present moment and recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. Mindfulness is a key practice in developing spiritual awareness, as it allows us to quiet the mind, observe our thoughts, and connect with the deeper truths of existence. By practicing mindfulness, we become more attuned to the sacredness of each moment and develop a greater sense of compassion, wisdom, and understanding. Buddhism also teaches that spiritual awareness involves letting go of attachment, whether to material possessions, ego-driven desires, or even our sense of self. Non-attachment allows us to experience life with openness and freedom without being bound by the limitations of the ego. This state of awareness brings us closer to enlightenment as we learn to live in harmony with the natural flow of life and the universe. The benefits of deepening your spiritual awareness. Cultivating spiritual awareness brings numerous benefits to our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. When we are spiritually aware, we experience a greater sense of peace and contentment as we trust in the unfolding of life and our connection with the divine. Spiritual awareness helps us let go of fear, anxiety, and the need for control, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. Spiritual awareness also enhances our relationships, as it fosters compassion, empathy, and understanding. When we are connected to our spiritual nature, we are more attuned to the needs and feelings of others, and we approach our relationships with greater love and kindness. Moreover, spiritual awareness gives us a sense of purpose and meaning. It reminds us that we are part of something greater than ourselves and that our lives have a higher purpose. This sense of purpose brings fulfillment, joy, and a deep sense of connection with the world around us. Practical steps for cultivating spiritual awareness. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate spiritual awareness and deepen your connection with the divine. 1. Practice meditation and mindfulness. Set aside time each day for meditation or mindfulness practice. This allows you to quiet your mind, observe your thoughts, and connect with your inner self and the divine. Through regular meditation, you can cultivate a sense of peace, clarity, and spiritual awareness. 2. Engage in prayer or spiritual reflection. Prayer is a powerful tool for deepening your connection with the divine. Whether you practice a specific religion or simply reflect on the sacredness of life, taking time for spiritual reflection helps you stay grounded in your spiritual practice. 3. Trust in the divine plan. Cultivate a sense of trust and faith in the universe or a higher power. Let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and trust that you are being guided and supported on your journey. This trust allows you to experience greater peace and surrender in the face of uncertainty. 4. Embrace non-attachment. Practice letting go of attachment to material possessions, outcomes, or ego-driven desires. By releasing these attachments, you open yourself to the flow of life and create space for deeper spiritual awareness. 5. Serve others. Acts of kindness and service are a powerful way to deepen your spiritual awareness. When you serve others with love and compassion, you connect with the divine within yourself and others, fostering a sense of unity and interconnectedness. The journey of spiritual awareness. Cultivating spiritual awareness is an ongoing journey that brings greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment into your life. It involves deepening your connection with the divine, trusting in the wisdom of the universe, and living with compassion, humility, and love. As you continue to cultivate spiritual awareness, you will experience a deeper sense of meaning, joy, and enlightenment. As this book comes to a close, remember that the practices and insights you've explored are tools for your continued growth and transformation. Whether you are seeking personal growth, emotional healing, or spiritual awakening, the path of self-awareness, authenticity, gratitude, forgiveness, and spiritual connection will guide you toward a life of greater peace and fulfillment. May you continue to walk this path with an open heart and a clear mind, embracing the journey of life with grace, wisdom, and love. Glossary and Index. Acceptance, the act of embracing what is without judgment or resistance, discussed as a key component in emotional resilience and personal growth. Chapter 5, Chapter 8, Chapter 9, Alignment. Living in harmony with your true self, values, and spiritual purpose, explored as a central theme in personal transformation. Chapter 12, Chapter 16, Anicca, Impermanence, a Buddhist concept of the transient nature of all things, which encourages non-attachment and acceptance. Chapter 6, Chapter 11, Chapter 13, Chapter 14, Authenticity, the quality of being true to yourself, embracing your true nature and values without fear of judgment. Chapter 5, Chapter 9, Chapter 16, Balance, the state of achieving harmony between different areas of life, such as work, relationships, and personal well-being. Chapter 13, Christ Frequency, a spiritual concept representing divine alignment and connection to a higher state of consciousness rooted in love and compassion. Chapter 6, Chapter 10, Chapter 17, Compassion, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, acting with kindness and empathy. Chapter 7, Chapter 9, Chapter 15, Detachment, a Buddhist practice of non-attachment to material desires, outcomes, or ego-driven goals. Chapter 11, Chapter 14, Chapter 16, Emotional Intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while being empathetic to the emotions of others. Chapter 9, Chapter 10, Faith, trusting in a higher power or divine plan, especially in the face of uncertainty or adversity. Chapter 15, Chapter 17, Forgiveness, the act of letting go of resentment or guilt, allowing for emotional healing and reconciliation. Chapter 15, Gratitude, the practice of appreciating the positive aspects of life, which enhances emotional well-being and spiritual fulfillment. Chapter 14, Integrity, living in alignment with your values and maintaining consistency between your beliefs and actions. Chapter 16, Intention, a guiding principle that directs your thoughts and actions toward a desired outcome, rooted in purpose and clarity. Chapter 12, Loving Kindness, Metta, a Buddhist practice of sending love and goodwill to oneself and others, promoting compassion and forgiveness. Chapter 7, Chapter 15, Chapter 17, Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of the moment, helping to cultivate clarity, emotional regulation, and spiritual awareness. Chapter 6, Chapter 11, Chapter 17, Non-Attachment, the practice of letting go of material desires and ego-driven goals, fostering freedom and inner peace. Chapter 11, Chapter 16, Chapter 17, Resilience, the ability to adapt to and recover from adversity, maintaining emotional and mental balance through challenges. Chapter 8, Chapter 9, Self-Awareness, the conscious knowledge of one's character, feelings, motives, and desires, essential for personal growth and emotional intelligence. Chapter 2, Chapter 9, Chapter 16, Self-Compassion, treating oneself with kindness and understanding, especially during times of failure or difficulty. Chapter 10, Chapter 15, Self-Deception, the act of misleading oneself to avoid uncomfortable truths, often leading to misalignment and emotional barriers. Chapter 4, Chapter 6, Chapter 9, Chapter 15, Spiritual Awareness, the practice of deepening your connection with the divine, recognizing the sacredness in life, and trusting in a higher purpose. Chapter 17, Trust, confidence in the guidance of a higher power or the natural flow of life, essential for spiritual peace and personal resilience. Chapter 15, Chapter 17.
Thank you for joining me. My name is Chris Walls, and I wrote this book because there are a ton of people in this world that are suffering, stuck in loops of resentment, holding on to grudges, and not knowing how to forgive. Because the key to finding your Christ frequency is, believe it or not, through forgiveness, through self-acceptance. You can't allow other people's opinion of you to become your own, and you can't go around blaming people for the position that you're at. Through my life of trauma, I learned things the hard way, until one day I hit rock bottom. I asked God, please show me the way. And that's when I consumed myself in books that were designed to help me find my macro purpose. And I stand here today to share with you this experience, this path, this journey, and I welcome you to join me in achieving the Christ frequency.